Yeah.
Dead in the middle of little did we know.
I'm serious about mine. I'm so sincere.
Now at last I have seen a judgment of Solomon. And this is
Thought Crimes.
Everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga. How about that question?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment. I only have one question.
Who the fuck you think you fucking with? I run shit here. You just live here.
I want to sing y'all a brand new song I just wrote called Don't Trust Them New Niggas Over There.
Don't be a Negro, be my nigga. All right, help me out.
Hold on. I ain't nobody's nigga.
Well, I mean, you somebody's nigga wearing this nigga top.
Bitch ain't no legend. I'm the legend in this motherfucker. You can't be no legend and you 5 fucking years old. This motherfucker just call somebody a legend. Oh my.
We'll do it live. No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
What business are you in?
I make my bread and butter. I'm pushing.
What business are you in?
I make my bread and butter. I'm pushing. I'm pushing. I'm pushing. I'm pushing.
What business are you in?
I make my bread and butter.
Welcome to Thought Crimes, baby.
I made my bread and butter, man. Yeah, man. You're gonna get punched in the face, man.
Gonna get punched in the fucking face.
You know, wasn't anything else, man. It's just when he talked about my, hey, man, when he talked about my pet turtle, man, I says you're gonna get punched in the face. Shouts out to everybody. Of course, this is your man Savage Solomon here. Got sincere ignorance on the ones and twos. We are the dynamic duo known as Thought Crimes TC84.
That's right, and the instrumental you heard at the beginning of the stream was from Mr. Spice, One Shot.
Mr.
But right
Spice.
now, you're hearing the sexy boom bap instrumental from Fat Cat. Go to Fat Cat YouTube channel, subscribe, support people who know how to make instrumentals.
Yeah, there you go. It's Fat Cat. Now, we know some of you illiterate Negroes out there said, what was his name again? Fat Cooch?
No,
mind is elsewhere.
He's trying to be funny. It was cute. It was funny.
There were some people that were being dusty at the time. But the brother's name is Fat Cat. Shouts out to Fat Cat Beats. Hot. Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and get into this thing, man.
Fire.
Yes, man. Yeah, man. Come on, man. Shoot from the chair with the poom from the barber chair. Man, where's the haircut, man? All right, man.
Well, also, I want to let everybody know we do plan to come back at 10 a.m. To talk about The Rock being John Henry. Also talk about Iron Fist being canceled, which I find to be fucking funny.
They canceled Scooby-Doo. Shaggy Fist. Shaggy Fist has been canceled. The dusty-haired white boy has been canceled. Continue.
Prince knows that I find that funny.
Yes, Shaggy-Doo.
And we're going to be talking about that. And I'll give you a little heads up on the thumbnail real quick so y'all can see. This is what we're going to be talking about.
Man.
See that thumbnail?
Look at that fucking shirt that nigga got on. I gotta buy a shirt like that. Look at that shit The Rock got on. Hey there, brother. Do you like this shirt?
See that thumbnail? Come back at 10 a.m. So you go watch that live stream as well.
It's the Bravo Bulls shirt. Comes at it. Costs us $299.
But the Sixth God had to come first because...
Whoa. You forgot one other subject matter that we're going to be talking about in that.
Oh, no. That's going to be a surprise.
Okay,
when they get to that part.
All right.
But the Sixth God decided to rise again. And we decided to do a 3 a.m. live stream as well, for all the people on
night shifts,
the early shift or coming from the club.
There you go.
Or they just can't go to sleep.
Or you just came out of some bad sex and you're disappointed.
That too.
Yeah, that happens. Some of you are waking up right now, wiping yourself off with a towel and like, wow, I could have just passed
wiping
on
your front and your back.
There you go.
If you feel shame, it's okay.
It's broke. I just can't believe I let him spray my back up.
Can't believe I had a guy come at me who is broke. Or I can't believe
the sex was bad.
I can't believe I fucked a woman with stinky cooch.
Ooh, fat cooch.
I can't believe I kissed a guy with stinky breath. I know some of y'all may have horror stories tonight, but you're safe here with Thought Crimes.
Yeah, you probably went home with somebody that was a little bit tipsy, and you're like, do I smell piss? Anyway, y'all, we just giving you guys this wonderful, lovely night stream, man. This is the nocturnal hour. This is the hour that Sin and I are usually up, by the way, to let you guys know, because we're always busy, creative, and contemplating. So let's go ahead and get into this thing here, man. I want to say, first and foremost, the shop, this particular episode here, was a lot of tea spilled and no Pusha.
Very well done, though.
Very well
some
done. People
didn't know how the shop was going to come about, and but I think putting his friend Maverick, who's also his manager, people forget that the guy who hosts and does the mediating of the show is actually his friend that he paid for his education to come back and to assist LeBron James as his manager, and he also does the show. So a round of applause for keeping that money going around in the family and friends that also are included in family. I like that.
I like that. I like when we put people on, especially if they have the tenacity. I agree with Mike Epps on one thing specifically more than anything else. He says, look, man, I put a lot of people on. But he said it just depends on who's going to run with it. He said there's been people I put on and they didn't take it. And then there's people I put on and they go. And he says you putting somebody on doesn't necessarily indicate success. So apparently LeBron James' little homie, wanted it bad enough and he kept it pushing. And he's a great interviewer.
Oh, absolutely. So
Love the energy.
So let's get into it. First, of course, we're going to talk about the parenting stuff. I like what they talked about at the beginning, but we're going to talk about that at the end of the show.
We know they want the tea.
Let's start with the tea.
They want the Lipton tea.
They want the Caribbean tea.
Auntie Pusha T.
They want the UK grime tea.
Hey, we told y'all that Drake has a pet name for that nigga Pusha T. That guy. Yeah, man. When Kanye and that other guy, when he said what he said.
That guy.
I said, from this day forward, Auntie Pusha T shall no longer have a name in Canada.
I know people are saying that Drake is being insecure, but actually everything Drake told you on the shop is what we told y'all.
Drop a bomb.
On
drop that bomb.
Before anybody else, I'm gonna drop that gunshot and then the bomb.
Drop that bomb.
Where's the funky bomb? Where's the funky bomb?
It ain't funky. It's the shit.
Where's the funky flex bomb?
There you go. You want Ashy Beard Flex?
The Ashy Beard Flex.
There you go. Go ahead. Fucking lie. Go ahead, East Coaster. There you go.
No,
funky Flex. It's the Santa Claus of the East Coast. Stepping out of the tractor trailers.
Yeah, but no. Remember, we were the first one that came out. The first people, the podcast, anything that came out on the situation with Drake, Pusha T. We told you Pusha T was gonna come back with another diss. We told y'all everything.
Yeah, we told y'all, and we said that Drake actually had recorded a diss record.
Yeah, we told y'all that.
Y'all told us to shut up.
This isn't no favoritism or anything that. And anybody who new to the show, shut the fuck up, because we criticized Drake too. But everything he said on the shop was the truth. That's what we told y'all about when we had the information we was able to collect, some of the people that we talked to behind the scenes.
People pulled our coats behind us.
We told you that Drake got Mean Girl, and then you saw everybody on YouTube and other hip-hop platforms.
Months later, though.
Basically said the same thing that we said.
Again, months later.
From those who don't have as many views as us, from those who've had a lot of views, from those who are inside the industry, but didn't really pay attention to the situation. We were the first one that told everybody exactly what went down.
We told y'all how all of this shit played out. We told you guys that it was an entrapment. They trapped the Canadian bear, caught him off by himself. His own homeboy said, yeah, man, something doesn't feel right. And he got over there, and we said that Kanye West wanted to get Drake up out the way.
And he did. We told you that
musical real estate.
That Kanye West did Mean Girl him. We told y'all that he brought him to Wyoming. The whole thing was a setup, and everything that took place there. So now you even heard it from his own mouth, from Drake, from the shop. So actually, in this situation, we gotta be honest that Kanye West was the bitch in the situation. I understand that.
Still is.
Yeah, I understand people want to give it to Drake, but you can't just give somebody the bitch award because you don't like him, or
stop trying to give people the bitch card,
or because he makes very sensitive music, which he does. But Kanye makes sensitive music too.
Hit 'Em Up was a sensitive record.
Yeah. So,
come on, it's all the shit.
I should say more romantic R&B-ish.
Let's just keep it real. Drake is watching his pockets and has a consistent fan base.
Yeah, so
let's keep it 100.
When we're talking about Kanye West running around saying,
I don't celebrate losers.
Talking about, Drake's doing this to me, that to me. Like, again, remember that Kanye West started this, and we told y'all exactly how this came about with the high school-ish type of mentality going over there at Good
Kanye,
Music.
with them ugly-ass sweatshirts.
And what was going on in Wyoming. And, again, you just saw it come forth in the shop, which It's interesting, like, now that y'all see what led to Pusha T with Pusha T, his gossiping.
There you go.
This
Auntie Pusha T, spelled T-E-A.
Now y'all understand why we was calling him Auntie Pusha T. It wasn't because we thought
Pusha T.
It wasn't because we thought the diss track was bad. We already told you that was a great diss track.
Well-crafted diss track.
But we told you it was Auntie Pusha T because Pusha T got a lot of that information from Kanye West, who tricked Drake.
Well, okay, so let's go ahead into this thing. We already got that out the way. I want to get into the meat of the conversation. Because Drake, he recognizes chess. He's been playing chess. Him and his team have been successfully playing chess for the duration of his career. So one thing he acknowledged is what I always respect in warriors of all likes. Doesn't matter of all ilks of life they walk in. He says, look, it was a great chess move. Think about it. It's either I'm forced to step out of character, which we said. I'm forced to step out of character. We said it here. We said, yo, Drake is either going to have to step out of character or he's going to have to hit them on the charts, right? Or he said, I have to go into myself, call upon some other type of energy, but have this quote-unquote chink in my armor for the duration of my career. So he says, you know what? I'll take that second one. And he said he didn't want to be remembered for the route he had taken. And look, we're telling you guys 100% on this, that there were people that we knew that had informed us. They actually heard snippets of the track, and they said Drake sounded completely out of character. He went into a completely dark space.
He had information on Pusha T and on Kanye outside of camp.
Obese face Kanye West.
Yeah, like from what the insiders that talked to us, they said no, he sounded like almost like a hit 'em up type guy. He was angry. He was giving in information about certain things that people feel shouldn't be talked about the hip hop gatekeepers, you should say, just to touch on a little bit of what we talked about in our previous two streams ago. So, it was really...
Do you think that
it's funny?
This is a Highlander effect? Do you feel this is a Jean-Claude Van Damme mullet-wearing time cop effect? Do you feel this is a Terminator effect, that if Drake had not stepped into that space as a Canadian Machiavelli and go left completely out of character, do you think that would still allow for Kanye West to act the way he is now in accordance? Do the people feel like maybe some of this stuff could have been walled off if he had been shut down emotionally? If Drake would have released that diss track? What do you think, Sin?
I think now that we're looking at it, because we troll.
Yes, we do.
We told Drake, and we know that some people in his camp was listening to our streams. We was like, yo, go do it. Pull the trigger. That don't mean you listen to us, though, because we did tell, suggest certain thing about Eminem, and we don't give a fuck like that. We have fun. But I think he may have made the right decision, because if you know that it was all a game to make you come out, and to also give more attention to Pusha T, then you're just gonna have to fall back. You got out-calculated in that particular setting. Now, the thing that I find corny, though, is that when Kanye West is going on, certain radio platforms and trying to act like he's innocent and he wasn't in Kanye West is the guy who orchestrated all of it. So you gotta take it as it is, man.
He reminded me of the two faces of Janus.
Oh,
looking forward and looking in the past, looking in the future and looking in the past. He reminds me of that. He has faces going in both directions. His head is turned both directions. Yes, I do believe in that. Now, when we see everything played out the way it did, of course, we already seen that Kanye West felt some type of way about Drake, and we see how Kanye West has been trying to clean it up, but then go back, and then clean it up, and then go back, and kind of ping-ponging between that. For me, personally, in an alternate Reverse Flash universe, I'm always interested sometimes when I hear Drake speak. This is, what if he had released that track? Would Kanye West even be on his campaign right now with all of this MAGA shit, which we've already talked about over and over? We're tired of the story. But I wonder if that would have had an effect of maybe shutting Kanye West down emotionally and preventing him being so gung-ho about this whole situation, having to be focused about what goes on with Drake, how he's going to deal with this. I just think it's funny. I do feel personally, they can say what they want to say. I think Drake spared Kanye West.
No, here's the thing. It's not also, and I agree with you, Prince. And it's not about feeling bad about anybody. I mean, At the end of the day, Drake is still fucking good. Like, cry about the people who are...
he profits off his losses.
Yeah, you know,
he's fine.
Cry about the people who are actually suffering under government tyranny and a whole host of things that we could get into, but we're not going to get into right now. This is more of an articulation or going into the nuances of what took place there that a lot of people didn't know about. And another thing that I would say about it is, no, what Kanye did was a bitch move, and this is why I say that. If Drake had did that in the reverse to Kanye West, asked him to open up, I'm gonna be your Quincy Jones, which we did hear about that 2 months, you know, we heard about it, we already talked about it. If somebody did that, like, I'm trying to be a friend of yours, like I'm your dude, you know, I'm here to talk to you,
I'm your guy,
I'm showing you my kid, I'm telling you what's going on, the mistakes I made, I nutted in a hole, but I gotta try to figure out the situation. And then you give it to somebody else, some other guy, to just destroy that person or try to destroy that person. Everybody in the chat room will be calling Drake a bitch.
They're calling him a bitch, even though it happened to him anyway.
So what Kanye West did and what Pusha T did was clout chasing. But at the same time, Auntie Pusha T still gave a good diss record.
He gave a very effective diss record. It was calculating, it was strategic, and it was an uppercut that Drake himself did not see coming. Henceforth, him having to calm down and figure out what route is he going to take next. Him texting LeBron James. LeBron James says, look, man, for competitive reasons, step your ass into the ring. He says, but outside of that, even if you choose not to respond, you will not disappoint me. And to be honest with you, historically, you guys can say what you want to say. Historically, we have never seen somebody get bodied like that on a track only to rise from the ashes like a phoenix and have the biggest run of his career. We got to be honest, the Scorpio album run, you may not consider it his best album, but it has been the biggest run of his career. Kiki has been the biggest single in his feelings. The In My Feelings Challenge has hands down been the biggest single in his career, and nowhere in hip-hop have we ever seen that. Usually if somebody gets slammed on the track, they take a huge L, and it's hard for them to come back, let alone come back and have the best run of their career without a overt audio victory.
Drake got powerful people behind him. Facts. I was laughing, Andy, at LeBron James.
As a hip-hop historian.
As a hip-hop historian. LeBron, stop it.
I believe he is, though.
No, as a lover of hip-hop, I understand. But he was being extra. But I like, again,
but think about
LeBron is dope as fuck, but that was funny.
But that's his mentality.
You saw that shit was funny.
Did you hear what he said, though? Think what did he say? He said,
as a hip-hop historian, I'm just going to let you know.
But even beyond that, he goes like this. No, my failures are my biggest achievements.
That part I agree with.
That's how he thinks.
So
like if he feels like he wants to call himself a hip-hop historian.
Okay, stop it, Prince. I'm not following your logic with that part.
I'm a hip-hop historian.
Okay.
My biggest failures are my biggest accomplishments.
But you used to be called Dollar C. You was a battle rapper.
I was a reporter. I was in the field. I was in the field. I was a hip-hop historian. I know my facts. That's why when them dusty Negroes was getting mad, them hip-hop nerds was talking about Pusha T and Daytona, I says, I'll give it to him for the track. But I know what Drake is about to do. He's not going to say his name publicly ever again.
And also, like, people, y'all overstating the Jewish connect with Drake. Drake got a lot of powerful Jewish connects, but he got a lot of powerful black connects, too. There's a lot of powerful black people that back Drake, you know?
Yeah.
Y'all gotta understand something about thought crimes. We joke around, we troll, we even troll y'all asses. When we did Drake, when we talked about the Jewish connects and we was making fun of him and we did the scary Darth Vader, that shit is based off some truth, but it's also based off of fucking around. And the audience, you have to be more aware and understand the difference when it's trolling, it's comedy, and then also the little truth that's there that we're spitting out for y'all. Because it's very important for y'all to understand that, because some people come back to us saying that, y'all the ones who said that, you know, Drake got the Jews connect, and I said, yeah, and that video's under comedy too.
And he also has a J Prince connect, who has a very powerful presence in hip hop, which it is severely. In fact, people look at J Prince not in the way they should. They don't look at Master P in the way they should. People spend more time gawking over Lear Cohen as opposed to a Master P, as opposed to a Jay Prince, as opposed to some of the other people who have the aforementioned power in hip-hop, even a Jermaine Dupri. You know, a lot of these people have longer extension, bigger reaches, Jay-Z, Puff Daddy, but again, that's another subject matter.
Look, AG says stop trolling us. We can't help it. Look, we let y'all know when we say something is a fact, when we're talking about history and stuff.
We give it to y'all.
But y'all should know when we're joking. But going back to what you were saying also with like people, again, he got 3 powerful things backing him, Drake. Canadian politicians and the Canadian Connect, because he serves the Canadian economy very well. So that's one. The Jewish aspect and the black aspect too. He got very powerful black people backing him. So he got 3 big forces that, you know, help sustain him, which is why he got a pretty good well-ran oil machine behind him.
Well, also, let's not just forget the stuff he's able to network on his own. Just him even co-signing people and people feeling indebted to him. Drake has co-signed more people out of that J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick Lamar tier. So that also furthers his legacy and, you know, his half-life as he continues on. You know, whether you say he's jumping on trends, whether you say, oh, he's just co-signing, showing love. It is what it is. It's politics. It's the nature of the game. And people got to understand there's a difference between networking and ass-kissing. But I want to get back to the situation here because, you know, one thing I found interesting about Drake, though, he said it doesn't matter. He says you did what you did. You enjoyed your moment. He says now you're going to have to reap the consequences. But it does seem like he's in a different place right now.
I don't know. He could be running to Trump for help. Who knows with Kanye West.
You think he running to Daddy?
Help me out. My thing is, like, we don't have no allegiance to any of these people, you know, so we're going to talk about how it is. And Kanye West has been acting like a crazy bitch for a while now. But then
Sin's
again,
favorite word of the day, bitch.
I've been trying to, of course, at the same
Somebody
time.
call Queen Latifah.
But, you know, at the same time, you got to understand, he does have mental issues, too. So
Yes.
I always try to keep that in mind, to also, you know, there's more of the people around him who've been using him. You got Chicago niggas out there wanting to eat off of him, even those who are supposed to be his friends. So they say that, you know, Trump hasn't been doing anything negative towards black Americans. There's no Blue Lives Matter policies, nothing signed by within the executive orders from Trump. So you got delusional niggas like that who think it's just the Democrats that do fucked up shit who are talking in Kanye West's ear. Then you got, you know, the people he decided to marry into the Kardashian and Jenner family that's talking in his ear and using him as a puppet. So it's like Kanye West has no sense of direction. The people who talk, he's just I don't know what to even say, like a stool of a lot of different things.
What I think is people going to have to learn to emotionally disengage from Kanye West and everything he represents. Everything he represents. Like, to be honest with you, when he supersized up on the French fries of ignorance, when it came to that Cheeto Puff, Donald Trump, and I saw the clip, I said, you know, people would say, oh, well, y'all gonna do a stream about it? I said, I'm not in the mood. I'm done. We've been done. We told you all about this trajectory he was heading towards. We knew where he was going. And if you listen to him, there's something else. There is a strategy here with them. Whoever his handlers are, whoever is whispering in Kanye West's ear, whoever the people are, there are ways that they are approaching things. He said, you know, when he was sitting in front of Donald Trump, you know, when I got up there on NBC, I didn't know what I was saying. I was speaking from a welfare state mind, all of that type of stuff. So when people are turned up, when I saw T.I. turn up on him on Instagram, I says, but T.I., bro, you got that trap music museum. You can't put music in it. Look, initially, if you're talking about the forerunners of trap music, in the musicianship of it, the photos, the CDs, the statues, that's fine. When I saw you had the 50 Cent nigga counting the dimes like in a cosplay fashion and he picking up the fake bricks and sitting it on the table.
And it was done in a positive manner, too.
Then I said to
myself, not good for children.
Whoa. I said, Tip, now, hold on. With your etymological mentality and I said, wait a minute, T.I. Now play
shit.
I said, look, you shooting at Kanye West's little red Rudolph the Red-Nosed reindeer hat, MAGA hat, but at the same time, bro, look what you just opened up in your backyard. To be honest with you. Now, I know these are rich niggas, which we always try to keep that in mind. They are a certain class of rich niggas. We all rich. But they're a certain class of it, right? Where they hang out with each other. So T.I. was like, I'm ashamed I ever even worked with you. I said, no, you're not, nigga, because you made money. You okay? When Swagger Like Us came out and you was bragging about they had a track on the Paper Trails album, you was proud of it. You was like, I'm writing, I'm doing all of this stuff. Now, all of a sudden, you're moving to the absolute opposite end of the spectrum.
He playing trap Jesus.
And I said to myself, I says, but Tip, you got the Trap Music Museum, player.
And
you
Iggy.
got some, you like, dog. Do you really want some po-ass kid from Zone 3 parts of Atlanta, from Zone 4 parts of Atlanta, to walk into that Trap Music Museum? And are you really going to believe that what they're going to take from that is a positive trait, positive attribute?
I thought that was lame.
Bro, I can't take the bullets going at Kanye's red hat from your gun.
Because I was fine with the Trap Museum music aspect of it. And then also, even if he would have showed the drugs, but showed it in the honest light, most of the trap niggas that did drugs, most of them are dead. Only a few of them were able to use that money to still prosper into it. And then there was another side to trap music where you had dudes who were around it, never did it, never sold it, but they hustled in other ways to be able to get their music out and to create a movement.
Some niggas were slinging weave out the trap. Some niggas were slinging Air Force Ones out the trap.
That is what I thought the Trap Museum would actually focus on. The duality of that, but also show the death and destruction of the drugs. You could be a museum and still tell the truth and not glamorize something like he did in the Trap Museum with showing the 50 Cent hefty nigga look like a coke and rocks and all that shit on the table.
What does he put all them diapers wrapped up on the table? This shit looks. And you saw he just kept counting. I said, so are they actually paying this nigga? Like, are they actually paying this nigga? So that's my problem with the whole T.I. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all something. We can't be full of shit. I'm all about consistency. If you're consistently crooked and you know that's what you are, I'm like, cool. If you're consistently decent and for the plight of your people in an honest way, fine. But don't be all over the place. Like, don't be calling Kanye West a coon and don't be calling T.I. a coon and you a coon on your job. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole thing about all of this finger pointing.
The coonology that's running around?
Yes, coonographics. Coonoglyphics. So for me, it was wild to see T.I. post on Kanye. But I'm like, bro, you just did this. You just did this Trap Music Museum. And in fact, his second album, which is a classic in his discography, Trap Music, is a very well-balanced dissertation, a audio dissertation on the state of the trap, the state of economy, the state of Atlanta, the state of the South, the state of Black America. What are you doing to hustle? What are other people doing to hustle? People selling what they can in the neighborhoods, using expended resources. But when I look at the Trap Music Museum and I saw the nigga putting the diapers on the table wrapped up like it's coke and weed, I'm like, what is this shit? And then you talking about Kanye? At least we know Kanye's mentally ill. What is your excuse?
That is a good point. Kanye's mentally ill. He's off, and I'm gonna pause the music real quick. Nigga, and also great beat from Fat Cat.
Oh, I love that.
Niggas and non-niggas, crackers and all of them have been using Kanye West. He's being used by everyone. He's also a troll himself. He's mentally ill. He loves attention. He loves to be the center of attention, and he has everybody talking to him. Niggas from Chicago that are thirsty, that don't know shit about politics, talking to him, telling him shit. The family he married into for clout, telling him shit, pulling the strings. There's a lot of things going on behind Kanye West. But then again, the public should have never put so much stock into Kanye.
They put a crown of thorns on his head.
When I think about, black people, for example, which all people do it. So no one come out here thinking it's just about black people, but I am black. I'm not fucking white or anything else. But what they did was they gave all their gold and admiration to a kid that they thought was the chosen one for them. And now they're reaping in a negative way because instead of putting that effort into local politicians who are black, who are going to do things for the black community, because politicians do things for demographics and communities. Anybody who thinks that politicians are voted in to serve all people are idiots. You put people in to serve you. those are the people you should be focusing on. Like, those are the people that should be the first on your brain, on your mind. But sadly, I understand how music,
it's very powerful.
It's very powerful, especially
very
the black people, when we are the ones who created, most musical genres that mean anything. And then also you go back to the griots, where music and sound. So it's very, very important in black culture. But at the same time, even with that, there's certain people who fall in line with that who would have been a better candidate than Kanye. Kanye has always talked about his hypocrisies and his issues since his first album. Most people just wasn't listening.
You also have to recognize the hustle. The reason why Kanye West is being talked about, because again, we're in a hyper-capitalistic system. The clickbait goes beyond the internet, and it has started before the internet. When we're talking about news outlets, when they used to say, well, Gary, Indiana is the most dangerous city in the nation. Compton is the most dangerous city in the nation. Southside Atlanta is the most dangerous city in New York City. The black parts, Queensbridge is the most dangerous city in the nation. Those things like that give upticks in ratings and spikes in ratings as well. Even when there are peaceable protesting taking place across this nation, you may have a skirmish here or there, but Fox News will run it like the whole crowd is doing it. Those things play into the same consistency as why the news is even covering Kanye West, because it's an uptick in ratings. It's a spike in ratings. Kanye West is wearing his hat in front of Donald Trump. He's randomly ranting. And then you have the news anchors. You have Don Lemon, you have Anderson Cooper, you have Michelle Kelly, you have all of these other people who get to talk about it and drag it out. Their job is to drag it out so they can bring in more dollars for those networks. The more ratings, the more advertisement, the juicier the story. It's no different than the internet. That's what it is, and that's what we have to recognize as well, because on average, when you're talking to a lot of people, there are a lot of people who's just genuinely fatigued with the Kanye West story, and they may not be interested. But we, as consumers, have to understand that this is all a corporate hustle as well. Kanye West sitting in front of Donald Trump puts more money into many of these news outlets' pockets and everybody online or whoever the case is than anything else. Because long story short, when y'all go back into your jobs, if y'all clocking in, you're making your $8 an hour, your $9 an hour, your $12 an hour, Kanye West is the furthest thing from your mind. You know what I'm saying? So we also got to recognize that there's a corporate hustle on top of this too.
And to go back to the beef with, Drake, that guy, and Kanye
that guy.
West.
Say his name. Say his name. Hashtag say his name.
You know what? The whole situation with Damn, I just lost my train of thought.
Damn was a good album.
Yeah, Damn was a good album by Kendrick Lamar.
You said going back to the whole beef. Come on, Sam. Restart that battery upstairs. What you got?
I can't remember.
You'll remember it. Come on, Stephen A. Sin will pop back in. I've got it. I found it. Boygan. But anyway, the whole thing is this, too, is that we did see where Drake has chosen to place Pusha T, and we said, look, if this is the most attention Pusha T has ever gotten outside of him and his brother, right? And it is. And then moving forward, he got what he wanted. He's happy. But Kanye, on the other hand, has to go back and do the double talk. It was interesting when Drake said, before everything dropped, that Kanye started texting him out of the blue, talking about, brother, I love you. I just want to tell you I love you. And Drake said, yeah, I even had texted him a picture of my baby and everything. So Drake said that he knew his baby would be like a punchline in some type of diss record or diss track, the deadbeat father and stuff. But he said the thing that got him irritated is because they wished death on his friend.
Yeah, now I remember what I was going to say. It had to do with the beef thing. Look, saying that your friend was dealing with MS. I think one template we could look at is when Tupac came after Prodigy.
Sickle cell.
And he talked about sickle cell. And he said, ain't your ass gonna die or something, nigga? So there are a few diss records. There's two things that come to mind. On the mainstream tip, yeah, of course, most diss records never went that far. Most of them. But as a hip-hop historian, as LeBron James would say.
There you go. Hip-hop historian.
There have been some that have been popular that did, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, it depends on... Actually, both parties are right, though. If you're talking about what's the norm wouldn't be that. But if you talk about what really did happen, though, hip-hop, there have been a minority of diss records that did go that far. So,
you know me, I'm on a fence with that.
But then again,
because I just
some people felt that Tupac went far.
A lot of people feel he went too far.
With Biggie, they felt he went too far with
but a lot of people,
Prodigy.
A lot of these niggas' dicks get hard when they hear "Hit 'Em Up." They don't care. You know what I'm saying?
"Hit 'Em Up" is a dope track, but a lot of people don't look. There are a lot of hip hop historians, and I'm getting what they said, who felt it don't really count because you have one guy angry talking on the track and another guy who never responded.
Well,
So
Biggie, I think when they say he never responded, I think
he never responded to the beef. He made his.
Yeah, because I think the people, when they say he never responded, I think they actually shortchange his lyrical tenacity and his way of subversive, which Biggie was a master at. You know, and I think Biggie did sprinkle rebuttals through certain tracks.
His rebuttals were of a context of, I'm not involved in this. Why this nigga keep coming after me? It still wasn't a rebuttal to, I'm going tit for tat. We in a boxing match.
Do you feel Long Kiss Goodnight is a diss track towards Tupac?
I feel it's an illustration of what took place for him and his psychology of it.
So you think Biggie was talking to himself?
About what he was going through, Long Kiss Goodnight. Absolutely. He's explaining his side, the paranoia, a lot of things that
Your spirit above or beneath me.
Yeah, that traumatized him. Doesn't mean, of course, he wasn't saying nice things about him, but
skin green like cucumber skin.
It's not a diss. It's not a diss. It's like,
you know what?
When we think about Nas, Biggie, LL Cool J, it was an active going back and forth. You did not have that with Pac and Biggie. And in fact, most of it, Biggie trying to dodge.
Well, I disagree, to the fact that I think this is where I level with you on saying. I feel Biggie was venting on Long Kiss Goodnight because I've listened to that track over and over, and it sounds like he's just venting. He's letting it out.
Yeah,
he's
letting everything out. A diss track where it was
allegedly
Pac, where everyone could just
allegedly
listen to.
That he had one on the original cut for Brooklyn's Finest on Jay-Z's debut album, and Jay-Z said you got to take that off because Jay-Z, he didn't want that to mar his debut, because that's one thing. Jay-Z didn't want to respond to anything because he said, I never met Tupac. I had no issues with him, but my name was being drugged by my association with Christopher Biggs and Nas and AZ
and that was the
and
problem,
all of those guys.
Which is why you never get a Biggie track on top anything diss records, because he never made a diss record towards Pac. If you see it, it'll always be Pac by himself with Hit 'Em Up.
Well, you know what?
They always just have Hit 'Em Up. It's like there's no Biggie record in response.
He's got multiple records. When We Ride on Our Enemies, that nigga Tupac has a lot of diss records that came out that, from what I researched about Pac, he was going to have a turning point in his life where he didn't want certain records to come out. Now, going back to this whole concept of diss records, which means in short, it's a disrespect record, right? Mm-hmm. So when people brought up Story of Adidon, right, and he said what he said about 40 and 666, and I thought it was a very interesting play on words, right? But when I saw people reacting the way they did, I thought about, what if Tim Dog would have dropped Fuck Compton today, especially in this Me Too era, right? Because on the track Fuck Compton, he's basically talking about raping Miss Chalet in the bathroom, right? And there were people, they were rocking with that record. Like, people forget, if we're not talking about the A-list tier diss records, we're not talking about the Ethers, we're not talking about the No Vaselines.
We're not talking
about
the mainstream versus or the most of versus the minority.
But if we talk about in the history of hip hop, there have been some very raw and disrespectful records that have been floating in and out the ether of hip hop. They're not necessarily A tier as we're talking about here with the Nas's and the Tupacs and things like that sold millions of records. We're talking about
Tupac is a part of the disrespectful though. Beyond disrespectful.
Now, some people feel that maybe Tupac's presence and his star power and the type of record he crafted that we've seen more towards the underground, that it may have opened a portal for something else to be had at that level.
Look, this is what I will say, because D-Respect touched on it, and people like thumbs the fuck down when he talked about why he felt the Pusha T diss went too far. There's a valid debate on both sides.
On both sides, absolutely.
Underground mid, mainstream, most discs don't go that far. But there still is a precedent set that there have been disc records that went that far and beyond. And a few of them that even have been popular. So it's like...
Even with No Vaseline, like, people got to understand, like, nobody really heard a rapper, especially a man, talk about other men like that on that level. And then with that much description, because one thing about Ice Cube, he's a very descriptive rapper.
Very.
And it wasn't just like, oh, you know, y'all take it, blah, blah, blah. No, Ice Cube on No Vaseline was very descriptive. And there were people at that time that they was like, yo, I'm not really feeling it. But then you had other people that was for it. So that's why I said,
even in battle rap,
it's an either or. Oh man,
like no. Even in battle rap, there've been a few times where someone said that's why your kid is dead, and everybody booed them. Now it really depends
on the mood.
No, it depends on how you finesse it.
Absolutely.
Like what Drake point that he was made, it was valid to a degree. Is like when someone talks about your kid or you being a poor parent and stuff, you like this the battle scene. Even in the battle scene, people are like yay. But it's tricky if you go on there and you be like da 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 da. That's why your mom's dead, or da 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 da. That's why your friend about. It's a way you have to really finesse it and be on point if you want to get away with something like that. Which in many people's eyes, though, Pusha T was able to do that.
Oh, Pusha T is an elegant ass nigga. Look, no, I will say there's no hands
for
down
for them. But then again, there was some criticism too.
That nigga's elegant. He look. He wasn't elegant enough to turn it into multi-platinum sales, but he was elegant enough to get the job done. And that's one thing. Pusha T, who pulls lyrically from the elk and the lineage of another suave nigga, Biggie Smalls tree, he was able to lay it out. Even how go back to the whole 666 setup scheme, rhyme scheme in that song. It's very layered. It's very elegant. And it's very smooth. Now, of course, there's criticisms to be had on both sides, and I understand the argument. You know what I'm saying? All I know is that he finessed the whole situation. When we did our research, it was like, oh, okay, we saw what happened. But on the flip side, though, if you go even from Vaseline, No Vaseline, to Real Motherfucking G's with Eazy-E, I mean, you go through the list, it's like comedy. It's like if you're doing dark humor. There is a space between the offensive and the humor that where you can be at, and that's where you can cruise. And it's the same thing when you're playing with potentially sensitive subjects where you can say one too many things and next thing you know you're in the offensive zone, or you cannot go as hard enough and it comes across as lame.
But you can be offensive. That's the whole point of this record is to be offensive. It's about what offense
which is my point
line.
Yeah, which is exactly my point. My point is exactly that it's the same thing as comedy. You know, you're gonna have a joke zone where you can be coming off lame, flat, non-creative, and then you have the offensive area, right? And then the best comedy is found in between, where you're able to marry the both of having you can take subjects that are deemed sensitive, and if you finesse it the correct way, you can make it work. It's the same thing in rap music, battle rap. One of the better, most disrespectful battle rappers I've ever seen in my life is that nigga Arsenal, and I think he's from New Jersey. I don't know if you ever seen the brother. He's got like locks in his hair, but Arsenal gets very disrespectful. Mothers, kids, wives, daughters, crippled grandfathers, dead brothers. None of that's off the table.
Joe Budden was the one crying about the kid. But most people weren't crying about the kid. They were talking about death. Kids on the table, everything's on the table. A lot of people could get away with that stuff. We've seen them get away with that. We're talking about somebody's dead mother, father, whatever. That one has been the most tricky one because a few people have been able to do it successfully. Some people haven't.
Well, I mean, even
a lot of people actually. I'm sorry, not even some. A lot of people haven't been able to execute something like that.
It depends on your narrative skills. It's all about narrative, right? So if we're talking about death, 50 said about homicide, he got shot like I got shot, but he ain't fucking breathing. And people felt like 50 had validity and retribution for saying that line publicly, even though there were members of his family allegedly that came out and said they didn't appreciate that line. But it was tied into 50's overall narrative. Even
he was taken from the Pac energy, though.
Exactly.
Like, a lot of people don't realize Interscope, they put photos of Eminem next to Tupac when you're looking up things. So they took it because they felt he was taking Tupac's energy, but he was on another nigga level because they believed him when he said he got shot 10 times.
Remember what we said, right?
Allegedly, it was 5.
It's the whole Coliseum effect. You know, some people, they just want that blood. They
want a good story.
And you got to be honest. Drake had not necessarily created the best track record leading up to it, where people were kind of getting annoyed with him with these accusations of biting and stealing, and they felt like, he was protected.
Oh, no, Drake isn't perfect, which is why it led to the perfect setup with
Pusha T.
With an egghead Kanye West and Pusha T mean girl in him. But I also want to get on something else, because just an example, the dude nigga, something he called himself in the chat room.
A black man called himself nigga?
I don't know, nigga tree or some shit like that. But anyway.
Nigga tree oil.
The thing that's weird is when I see people go to our hip hop or our entertainment commentary, even though sometimes we inject realism and politics into it, don't come on these topics if you're looking for something more than what it is, even though most of the times that's what we give you. If you want something that's just simply politics all together 100%, take your lazy ass off the stream and go to Real News Network, where they talk about that 100% 24/7. And also, if you think you're gonna get something that changes the plight of black people just based off of people talking, then you're an idiot.
I don't give a fuck about whoever that is. I ain't making no more of them disclaimers. We talk about what we want to talk about, and the people enjoy it.
No, I enjoy giving the disclaimer, because I think humanity, of course, a lot of it repeat the same pattern, or like what you brought up, rhymes. Yeah. Sometimes it's not exactly the same. Sometimes
history rhymes.
It's just close.
Yeah.
So you really have to keep checking people and reminding people that if you're phony, you're phony as fuck.
DS1 says, I'm looking for life skills.
You're phony as fuck when you be coming on certain people's shit when they're talking about hip hop.
They just want attention.
Of course.
Yeah, they just want attention. That's why I say I don't address them comments until I see everybody in the chat turn up and say, that's a different story. But most niggas do something opposite of the energy in the room to try to get attention so you can say their name directly. I'm not saying your name, Playboy. Go pick up a Magic School Bus book.
Nigga tree.
Nigga tree oil. There you go.
Are we going to open up the phone lines? Maybe you can call in. Call in, nigga tree.
Yeah, come on, nigga
Whatever
tree oil.
Your name is.
Did you rub it up? You rub it up under your chin?
We'll open up the phone lines, have people call in. Yeah. I did like the portion, though, when they talked about their family dynamics,
Oh, that's very important.
Mel's, LeBron coming from a single parent, Drake, somewhat a single parent situation, his father floating in and out. And then I think Maverick actually having, his dad around. Yeah. And they all, got a different vantage point from that lens.
I like that conversation. It was very smooth.
It was a smooth conversation.
Like, people do not understand the art of dialogue, the flow of conversation, matching rates of speech. I'm telling you, that's what we always attempt to do for Thought Crimes. Even when we're joking, we make sure we try to give you guys like a best conversation pertaining to a particular subject. What I liked about this shop, nobody was stepping on each other. They were explaining their points. They were countering points. That's beautiful, man. People, man, man, that's beautiful, man. Come on, Michael, man. Damn.
And also, people talk about rap. Rap is real life. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
it's another form of market of capitalism and making money, which a lot of black people don't own, which is why a lot of us are broke. Because
somebody said rap wasn't real life?
We don't own our own creativity. So anyone who tells you that all these forms, gaming and stuff, yeah, of course, entertainment-wise, they're fun and all that, but they still have economic value. The number is 281-899-0392. Again, the number is 281-899-0392.
Rap is real love.
Call in.
It is. What is it? What did Jay-Z and Beyonce say? Everything is love. It is love.
I can do anything. Hell nah.
Oh, I found out what it was. Yeah. They're saying L nah, no L's.
L nah, no L's.
Yeah, L nah. So I was trying to figure out. I was like, yeah, so I had to go look it up. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, rap is real life, sin. I mean, when Tupac did Unconditional Love, you know what I'm saying? That's a heavy ass
Tupac
track.
was rap, was hip hop.
Come on now.
He tried to do the whole niggatry thing because he wanted gang members to join together and to be unified. And he came from the Black Panther, of course, tree branch. And he was rap. And he died based off a lot of things, allegedly FBI, CIA.
Oh, shit.
A lot of different things pertaining to Tupac, and he was rap. Rap has a lot of feds in there. Like, y'all niggas, don't be talking about shit you don't have the intelligence to even understand. Don't come after us with shit you don't even know about.
It was Remy Ma kept trying to say before Joe Budden kept cutting her little ass off when she kept saying that hip hop police has their own task force. They have their own unit. Which
Busta Rhymes talked about in the 90s.
I heard about that shit since what, 1999? Since I was little, like in 2000, when I heard about the hip hop police. See, I said, what is the hip hop police? And then Busta Rhymes was talking about it, how he was put under investigation. They were talking about how the hip hop police may or may not have been there during Jam Master Jay getting sniped out. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of weird shit. And then also the hip hop police being there when Wayne got arrested in New York City. You know, they had something to do with that. Hip hop police has been around for a long time, and they're still here. Mm-hmm. They're still here. Hell no. So, you know, I'm not all that surprised by certain things. But what I do find funny is Kanye West running around here. And then if you look at Drake, though, he just like fell back. Just kind of fell back right now.
He's doing shit behind the scenes.
Yeah, he said, I'm gonna deal with you, man. You know what I'm saying? You just got to suffer the consequences. Did you hear when he gave that Mob Ties speech? The one in a Mob Ties moment. Yeah. He's like, yeah, man, you can do what you want to do, man. All the apologies, man. But I'm just saying, you know, you still did it, so you're gonna have to suffer the consequences.
The number is 281-899-0392 if you want to call in. Again, the number is 281-899-0392.
Well, you know what, D? Based on some of these niggas' description of what a coon is, everybody a coon. Everybody a coon. You can be a coon at any time. You know, you can not wash your hands coming out of the restroom. You a nasty ass coon.
Let me tell you a definition of a coon to stupid people on
shouts out to Chuck,
social media. One, someone who doesn't tell all their business online.
That's a coon.
Because they already know everybody's listening. Another person who's a coon is anyone who has an independent opinion on any type of subject.
Yo.
Caller, what's up?
Yo, man, this Buddy from Tampa. I ain't talked to y'all in a minute.
Oh, what's up, Buddy?
Man?
Yeah, man, what's good, Prince? Yeah, man. I just watched that Drake interview, and I know sometimes I can be biased, you know, but my whole thing is about the whole Drake thing. He didn't bring up the Sambo, which I wouldn't imagine him to bring that up, but he started talking about Pusha T, talking about his friend, but he talked about Cudi even before that happened. Okay, Kanye West is a bitch ass nigga. You slumped him the picture, and everybody know Kanye a coon, but I think Drake's so mad at Kanye for being the coon he is that he won't even let the Pusha T. I think because Prince kind of said that like a couple of weeks ago. He was kind of like, it was no need of really horning in on Pusha T when Kanye West is the person, but it's just like, yo, this is rap. Pusha T getting in your ass, but it's just like for you to talk about, oh, this dude gonna get touched, but y'all wanted it to slow down. But you know, we had two different viewpoints from when it started stopping. First, it was Kanye that stopped it. Then it was Jay Prince that stopped it. Because you remember, it was a long time for people that was thinking Jay Prince stopped the whole thing. So my whole situation is, it's just like, why come and have this interview and talk about all this, you know, telling all this tea and saying somebody go get touched, but you ain't touched the dude that pissed on you. You didn't touch Diddy. You didn't touch. There's a lot of stuff that happened to Drake for Drake to be talking spicy.
Let's go into the mind of Drake too and his perspective. With Diddy got put on blast and he cowered out because Mentality called him.
Mentality.
And then if we're talking about Pusha T, I can understand from his perspective because he viewed it as not just being rap. He views it as, I thought you was a friend and a mentor to me. I came down there with you saying you're going to be, you know, Quincy Jones helping me out with my album. You tricked me, and I'm embarrassed that I even went down there and put myself in a position to open up to you where you can get the tea from me to give it to another guy to diss me to come back. So I think for him, that's the only thing that's clouding his mind. It's not about the rap anymore. It's not about... talking about Pusha. For him, is like, I thought you was a friend.
You heard what he said, though, real quick. You heard what he said. If you paid attention to his words, he said, well, it looks like I'm going to have to close back off again. He said that. Like, so he said originally that has always been his position moving through the industry because you know, a lot of people have snapped on Drake. Let's just keep it honest. You know, when he, you know, being a eager fan, I think to me personally, there's cultural differences between how African American man and a biracial man in America behaves versus that in Canada. We even see it how they kind of pick on Canadian basketball players, right? It's just the culture's different. So a lot of people, a lot of dudes in America, where a lot of our stuff is kind of, you know, aggressively centered around that energy. Do you got that energy? And Drake comes with that other energy. Then a lot of people have been clowning him for the duration of his career. He's kind of had the loose Will Smith energy on him, because Will Smith talked about it on Rap Radar, where he said when people called him soft, it really irritated him, because he said, I come from Philly. I'm not a soft dude. I had to fight, all this other type of stuff. But going back to the Drake and Pusha T situation, if you really look at it like this, how Eminem was trying to narrate how he looked at MGK and decided whether he responded or not, is how actually it was between Drake possibly addressing Pusha T. If Drake would have released this quote-unquote Canadian Machiavelli 7-Day Theory track, then that would effectively blow up Pusha T's spot and give him a stage to perform like we know Pusha T may perform. That also does give more battery, that gives stock in his pack. So every time Drake passively says that guy, he passive-aggressively invalidate Pusha T's name by not mentioning him. Because remember, Pusha T loves the attention. And no, he likes to be low-key, but when you saw him in the Funk Master Flex interview, he was acting like a cheerleader. To me, it was kind of he was geeked up. But remember what he said when he responded to Drake. He says, how dare you put somebody else's name in my verses? I want all of the curses. Like, I want all the attention. This has nothing to do with Kanye. And Drake pays attention to that. So every time it's brought up about Pusha T, he invalidates him by not saying his name.
And I think everybody got to remember, look at it on all angles. Drake isn't a perfect person. None of these people are. We don't know them. They've done good and they've done bad. Yeah. And some of them have done beyond bad. Some of them have done horrible. Yeah. So we're trying to just look at this in all angles. So from a spectator angle, and you just love rap, you're like, yo, nigga, just rap. You know, from his angle, is like, it's beyond rap. This nigga was my friend. He backstabbed me. I don't care about Pusha T. I care about that nigga, and I want to try to do things behind the scenes to fuck him up, because I opened up to him, and he's a backstabber, right? So, and then you may see from Pusha T angle may be like, I don't fucking like you. I don't like your persona. I think that you've been stealing people's styles, whatever. Or I just want to knock you out just for the sake of it. So it's like, for everybody, there's a different angle to it.
Yeah, real quick, caller. Also, I want you to kind of think about this, though, right? Like, for you and I, man, if we had got in the studio and Drake did that shit, you know, we like, nigga, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, we influenced by different people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we influence, we pull from different people, right? But Kanye West opened up the portal. There's a portal in hip-hop that had been reopened by way of Kanye West on a whole nother level, that Drake is a part of his tree branch. That's like that whole, remember the whole thing about Kanye being the antithesis to 50 Cent's gangsta pseudonym and all of that type of stuff. Then you move even further in that direction, you get a Drake.
You get a Drake, you get a Lupe Fiasco,
you get a Wale,
you
get every other guys, you get J. Cole, you get every other guy. Kendrick Lamar's a hybrid of a lot of different people, but you get the point. So it's like somebody that has that type of profound influence on you. Drake has essentially took Kanye West's 808 Heartbreak album and made a whole career out of it. And then Kanye turns around and alley-oop one of his testicles in his mouth.
Well, and not only that, because he's also a mixture of that whole R&B 90s style that you had hip-hop producers in the 90s when they were able to do the New Jack Swing, like Teddy Riley, or you're talking about other producers that were able to do that smooth R&B. Drake also takes from those people, and Kanye West and a couple other people.
I do agree with Teddy Riley. Most of the artists, R&B rappers today, are still doing New Jack Swing. They're just calling it.
They're just not calling it that.
Yeah, man. Just a different thing. But my thing is, if Pusha T comes back, is it too late for that surgical summer?
Yes, we're moving into the winter now.
Oh, I think it's too late for it, because if you already said that your career is good and you're good with the audience looking at you with a chink in your armor, then you have to be fine with that decision. His decision in life is, I'm not going to even focus on Pusha T. I know I've been scarred in hip-hop now. I'm focused on Kanye West, and I'm going to do quiet things behind the scenes to get at that dude. that's the choice Drake made in life, and because he made that choice, I don't think we're gonna get that track. That track could even be erased.
I think we're going to get. I think we may accidentally get a leak sometime down the line if things keep going in that direction.
That's possible too.
Yeah, and I think it'll be marketed as a leak, a hack, some sort of hard drive was stolen. But I will say for Pusha T, I'm a big Clips fan. I'm not that big of a fan of Pusha T by himself because sometimes he becomes a little too one-dimensional. Even though
a lot of times,
even though I liked his Exodus joint, and he had that other one where he had Beanie Siegel was breathing hard like Darth Vader on the track. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a dope track. Beans delivered a stellar verse, and Pusha T did his thing. But I will say this, though, Pusha T did get a W, in the sense of he is officially etched in hip-hop history for different reasons. Before it was by way of him being a part of the dynamic duo known as the Clips, a severely underrated group. But I think now, like, his name is up there when you start talking about diss records. You start talking about diss tracks, and we get to have that side conversation about rappers, and then Pusha T falls in there. He's no longer just seen as, he's a decent rapper. It's like, y'all remember that one moment where Pusha T punched somebody like a juggernaut like Drake in the mouth.
But I also think that people should take this as a lesson for their own life. I think only stupid people can't learn from everything, even if it's from quote-unquote entertainment.
Absolutely.
If you're looking at this, the whole thing with Drake and Kanye, like, some of y'all shouldn't be careful who y'all allow to come into your life. Some people are just clout chasing. You think, I'm going to talk about this person. Sometimes it's not worth talking about somebody if they're clout chasing, especially if they're clout chasing. Exactly, you give them more life.
Because you got to understand this too, man. Let's be real, caller. Pusha T, he strikes me as someone that if he didn't care, he doesn't care. Like, he's somebody, if the spotlight is on him, he's going to perform. You know who he reminds me of? Klay Thompson. Never missing. You know what I'm saying? So even if Drake had did this crazy, grandiose response, Pusha T, he welcomes the spotlight because he got like a sadistic energy about him. Like, he loves it, and he's going to perform regardless.
Yeah, yep.
So I think Drake understood that. That's why he won't even say his name. You know what I'm saying? He's just like, let me back away from this situation altogether.
I also think at the end, though, who really wins, though? Like, Kanye, like, Drake did get more from Kanye than everybody from Good Music. Some people should have came out with their material earlier because everybody on Good Music is talented, whether you feel they're hypocrites or not, including Kanye West. But one can say that I think, Kanye has been more self-serving when it came to his team. Kid Cudi should be a bigger star.
Yeah.
Tiana should be a bigger star. A lot of them on that roster should be bigger than what they are right now.
Well, Cudi killed himself when he was raging too much. You know what I mean? He even had a song called Mr. Razor. He was raging too much. Tiana took too much. See, the thing is about Tiana, she didn't know when to press the button, or she let somebody press the button for her, and the button was pressed too late for her. A lot of these people, it's their own it's their own fault. Cudi, you talking to a Cudi fan. Cudi, Man on the Moon 2, he should have been out of this stratosphere then. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just like, I just feel like a lot of those cats around there, even with Saha never pressed the button like he was supposed to. You get what I'm saying? And or he let Kanye slow him down. I just really feel like, and to just fast forward to the conversation, I just feel like the conversation was forced between Drake and LeBron. I feel like it was forced. I feel like he was giving tea, but I kind of feel like it was kind of like, I don't know.
You felt like it was scripted a little bit?
Well, I want to say two things. You actually made a good point. No, at the end of the day, it is their own fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you decide to work on Kanye, Beautiful Twisted Dark Fantasy. If you're a Sahai and Pusha, that's your fault. You decided to use all your energy with T-Pain to do 808 Heartbreaks as a Kid Cudi, even though Kanye waited fucking years, almost a damn decade, to return the favor. So, no, I agree with you with that. No, at the end of the day, it is your fault, because if you choose to put somebody above you and they clearly are being selfish, no matter how they're genius, whatever, or admiration, whatever, you still made that choice as a human being.
Well, you know what, Carla, I will say this, and you're talking to Kid Cudi fans as well, man. I haven't been a fan of his recent work because, again, that thing, I just feel like the Kanye energy is taking him out of his zone, because the last really nice album that I was really feeling from Kid Cudi, I wasn't feeling Man on the Moon 2. It wasn't a bad album, just I felt I related more to Indica when he dropped Indica, and he had Cold Ass Nigga on there, and he had that joint with Kendrick. Like that could be a quiet classic with Kid Cudi if you go back and reassess his discography. Right. But what I will say to you and Sin's point, I felt good music when they first rolled them out and they were in the shape of a crucifix on the Complex magazine. That right there was the best roster in hip hop we had seen in a long time. And I said, if Kanye is not selfish, this will be one of the greatest rosters in rap music. But if he is, they're just going to be a shelter for his ghostwriting. They're going to be a tool kit for him to dig in. Okay, I need a sci-hi track. Yo, I need a Pusha track. I need this. I need to craft another. Because I felt like they were just going to be used to craft another classic album for him.
That's the same thing, too. Like when you see Common, or Common doesn't really talk about it, but Consequence and Rhymefest in them, you see they're conflicted with Kanye, but then again, one could say that's their fault. Y'all worked on his first 2 albums. Y'all didn't get no credit. Like, in the history books, with the people who are real journalists, you're going to get a few of them that's going to talk about Consequence and Rhymefest, and they're going to talk about Cudi and everyone. But in the mega thing of who people are going to look at, out of all this, it's just going to be Kanye.
Yeah, it's going to be, I call it the Motown treatment. You're going to get some of those documentaries where they're going to tell you the guys that were behind Motown, really behind it, the 4 brothers, I can't think of their name, that was crafting all of the hits for all of them, right?
You're right. He is trying to be Quincy Jones.
Yeah, and then you're going to get, like Sin said, you're going to get in a general cultural sense where people are just going to speak about Berry Gordy and Motown. Or they're going to speak about just Kanye West, and it's just going to be, it's like Dr. Dre with both Chronics. Like, people don't talk about the producer, the mailman, or they don't be talking about the people that were under the scenes, the Lady of Rage, what she brought to the album, all of that stuff. It's just like, it's Dr. Dre. Yeah. So that's what has happened with a lot of them.
Dang, that's a banger. And I don't even mean to even cut you off, but that's a banger. That right there should be its own video, its own topic of a video, bro. Really think about it. In the long run, you don't think about those acts that was under Quincy Jones. You just think about Quincy Jones. And if you really tie this in, him meeting with Trump, in the long run, it's going to look like he was trying to be somebody who was putting races together, white and black people, and in all sense of it, it was him just doing idiot shit, sucking dick, the Trump. But in the diaspora of it, people are going to look at him, oh, he was trying to make a change 50 years ago.
I don't know about that. It depends on who wins.
Yeah, it depends on who wins. Yeah, you're right. I'm not saying like, yeah.
He's going to be looked at big regardless. I agree with you on that. He's going to be looked at big whether the Trump thing is seen as a con 50 years from now or a positive. People going to still say he had 4 classic albums. Yeah,
it is, and it's just based on... It's really going to be the historian's job. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's going to be the Socrates jobs. It's going to be those people's jobs to actually annotate hip hop correctly, where they're going to say, before we got up to a Kanye West, we had this period where there's Talib, Mos Def, Pharoah Monch. We had all of these guys. And then while we have a Kanye West, some of these guys were assisting in crafting College Dropout, what role Rhymefest played, moving forward. But usually with the big names, they usually super rank everything. But we appreciate this wonderful call, man. The caller was on point.
Caller, name me where you're from.
Yes, sir. Prophecy coming straight out of New Jersey. How y'all be?
What's up?
Yeah, nothing much though. Let me just say the fact that I'm a huge fan of the show. Peace and blessings to y'all and stuff though. But let me ask y'all something. What is a career-ending beef? Because remember, KRS-One and Mo D, those was like career-ending beefs back then, though, But now, is it even worth getting into a hip-hop battle now, such as a Drake and a Pusha T? Do you think so?
I think only if you can understand what it is at the end of the day, like a Nas and a Jay-Z, then it still could be profitable for both parties. But if you're, like you said, if you're talking about back during the more purer era of hip hop, hell no. Hell no. If you talk about like that, it's not, you know, in that type of way. No, it's,
yeah,
it's
I
not.
don't. You know what? The only career-ending beef I saw personally, caller, is when Ja Rule went against the Feds. You know what I'm saying? That to me, that's something. That's it. But I mean, as far as like, yeah,
No, that's a fact, dog.
yeah, like as far as now, like there's so many ways for artists to resurrect themselves, and then the apathy of the public to some degree has arisen because they've seen everything. I mean, after Tupac and Biggie, that's about it because their reward was death at the end of everything.
What
You know what I'm
Prince
saying?
said is correct. Like from the 90s upward, there is no such thing of a career-ending thing unless a big corporation or the feds got you. With cannabis, it was the industry with corporations that got after him, including Interscope, pertaining to Eminem. When it came to Ja Rule, it was Interscope, feds, stuff that he wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
So from the 90s up, corporations and feds in beef, not rappers' talent.
And real quick, caller, not to equate Ja Rule to Martin Luther King, but I mean, I'm sure if you seem well researched, but you saw how many just backup snipers they had from Martin Luther King, and even with John F. Kennedy, how many backup snipers they had. They weren't going to make it anyway. So if you get in a rare situation like a Ja Rule, and you actually think about the cards that was stacked against him, truthfully, Murder Inc. wasn't going to make it out of that shit.
Yeah, and the good thing about Nas and Jay-Z, they were both so powerful. And at the time, Rock Nation, the Rockefeller, was an independent, rap corporation or company, I would say. Not corporation, company. Was just dope. But at the time, it was equal to equal. Nobody was going to blackball. Jay-Z can't blackball Nas. Nas can't blackball Jay-Z. So it was on equal footing where the people just chose who they thought won that battle. But if you're talking about most of the time, it's going to be an unfair fight. That's why I don't like when people like ride Eminem's dick or anybody's dick, whether you're talking about Drake or Push or anybody at this time, because it's not based on the rapper anymore. It's based off of who has the bigger corporation that they're attached to, and if the feds are involved. That's it. It's not about people's talent anymore.
Right, and that is the problem, too. And me and my homeboy alluded to this the other day. I think the biggest problem in hip-hop was when Sylvia Robinson gave Sugar Hill Game a record contract to record Rapper's Delight. I think that's where hip-hop kind of lost its purity. And from that point on, it's all been about corporate interests. But what happened in the 80s was the fact that, we was trying to find our niche. And corporate America was the norm. So you might say like around like from 80 to like 89, that's when hip hop was pure. From 90 on, and that's when, we found the way to start eating and stuff and having better contracts. And from this point on, I just think hip hop just fell out of the loop. Not going to the Pusha T and Drake shit though, just on some real hip hop shit. Drake should have responded though, and I don't even Drake even have the record though, because if he did, he would have released it though. Come on now, let's just get the ballistics here. Anybody that ran at Duke, he kind of had a response. But in this particular case though, he dropped some real shit about him and dropped some facts about him. He was kind of stuck. And now, you have everybody defending you, and it's like, damn, Duke, you went, with the Meek Mill situation and stuff like that, though, even with the Common situation, you responded. But now you didn't respond to Duke. Like, come on. Like,
I think,
and also, too, you got to remember that, his pen is very questionable, too. You got to admit that. His pen is questionable.
I think we have to be, look, I told you we don't take from any side. Drake has written a lot and written from other people. But anyone who also is pro-Drake and they think that Drake hasn't lifted from people, they're delusional. So it's a mixed bag with Drake because he has written for a lot of people. He has written for himself. But he's also lifted from a lot of people too. And it's up to the public where they want to put him with that.
I'll tell you this, caller. This is what I'll tell you about it. If you look at Drake, he obviously all of these people are playing chess. Some of them are sloppier than others. Some of them are knocking the other people's pieces down by accident or knocking their own pieces down. But to your point, though, specifically, if you really think about it, Common, the weird passive aggressive energy of Big Sean, Kendrick Lamar, I would say, was arguably a bigger threat as opposed to those guys because he also has a machine behind him. Remember now, the same machine that was behind 50 Cent is the same machine that's behind Kendrick Lamar. It's just a different face, right? Yeah. But I will say Drake dialed down because you got to think about it. If you look at it on all levels, it was a threat for him. This was the biggest threat that could have completely leveled Drake up out the game. If he had not have made that play, I joked about it in the X-Files conspiracy video, sending out, we joked about it in our live show. If he not have made the play he did and dropped In My Feelings and had that aggressive campaign with Shiggy, the homeless New York dancer, rolling out, coming out and doing what he was doing and getting all the call center sisters. Yeah, man, he had a lot of people. Black Girl Magic was active. Everybody was active. If he had not have made that play and went the other way, Drake could have easily have been washed.
Well, and that's why it's not really just about hip hop. If you think about it, Kanye West was the threat to Drake, not Pusha T, even though Pusha T is the dope ass weapon. Because Pusha T wouldn't have anything to talk about if Kanye West didn't give all that information to Pusha T that Drake gave to Kanye when he was talking about his issues with his girl, the girl that he nutted in, that he only met one day, and all this other stuff. He talked to Kanye West and gave him all that information that then Pusha T used against him. So in the mind of Drake, it's like it ain't really about Pusha T because it's Kanye West who gave him all that information. And then another thing too to keep in mind, Kendrick would have been the ultimate form of a competition for Drake because of like what Prince said. He got Interscope behind him. Because you got to remember, Interscope is very powerful, and you got the feds on your side, on the side, and all that. And then he also got gang members who respect him. So Kendrick got a lot of stuff.
Kendrick comes with a culture.
Yeah,
he comes with a culture.
Kendrick got a lot of stuff working for him.
Yeah.
With Drake, he's powerful because he got Canadian politicians. He got a lot of powerful Southern black people in the hip hop game supporting him.
And don't forget the Jewish community as well.
And then he got
And
then he got the Jewish community too. But then Interscope got Jews too because it got Jimmy Iovine. So it's like it's really two powers really colliding. Whereas with the situation with Kanye West was the threat because Kanye West got the Kardashian type of power. He got a lot of stuff behind him too.
Also, the reason why you gotta look at it like this is, look, man, Kendrick Lamar. This is what people don't understand. LeBron James comes with a culture, whether you like him or not. He comes with a culture. There is a culture that comes with him that you don't necessarily get with Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant is a dope-ass motherfucking player, and on any day of the earth, he can tilt the earth against LeBron James if he feels like it, right? But what I'm saying is you have to pay attention to this word culture we throw around, right? Think about this. Kanye West came with the culture. He also is a part of facilitating the culture where other prominent stars come from that culture as well. Kendrick Lamar is an aspect of it. J. Cole, Drake. We can go through the list. Wale, Lupe Fiasco, all of these people. Kanye West comes with a whole culture. It's what made Chris Brown stand out when he brought back the dance culture, the b-boying culture straight to the forefront. You know, when you have these types of people with this shift that comes along with them, Drake comes with a culture, Kanye comes with a culture, then you understand the dynamics why when certain powers clash. Jay-Z comes with a culture. When you think about Pusha T, he's a part of the culture, but it's not resonating enough where he could have had that complete convergence. Don't get me wrong. Like I said all the time, Story of Adidon is a masterfully crafted track. But outside of that, the real threat to Drake will always be Kanye West because of his sheer musical genius and the proximity of talent that he has with him.
People forget Pusha came before, and 2 years ago, and it didn't
work. He did the joint Exodus. You know, it was a nice track. Carla, you a hip hop head. We hip hop heads. We know that was a fucking dope track, right? But think about if Kanye West. Let's say this. What happens with Kanye West, with his batting average is different. Pusha T can give you a Story of Adidon. The hip-hop nerds will love Daytona. But Kanye West may give you a very nice hit disc, but also he may give you a classic album that everybody's feeling. And there's a difference in the power shift dynamics. That's why it's hard for people to let go of Kanye. Of course, we don't care, but musically,
we don't care.
Yeah, but musically, Kanye West can turn around and drop a classic and everybody will be back on his dick again. That's why why he was the bigger threat, and that's why Drake kept throwing them Scud missiles at him.
On the flip side, Drake too got a lot of people in the culture as well, even though he's from Canada, which is why he's still breathing even after that whole Pusha T situation.
Yeah, and that plays a whole dynamic too, though. But my whole thing is the fact that, though, do you ever think at one point, or at some point, I apologize, that hip hop will ever go back to the streets where it just be man and Mike, MC, turntable, DJ? Will you think it will ever go back to that essence in regards as, everybody just doing stuff as in reference for corporate interest? I mean, you get what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense.
Well, I think both can exist if more Black entrepreneurs think about forming together and moving forward instead of always giving the keys to people who don't look like them all the time. It really has more to do about that because, a lot of people in the culture either gave it up or they gave up, or there's a lot of things that had happened behind the scenes even in the 80s that led to what we see today. So even though you have room for hip hop, which is just hip hop being popular music, which is what a Drake is, or even Kendrick for that matter, being popular when it comes to making rap music. If you're talking about the integrity of the culture, both can exist if you have people of the culture actually owning it. Because someone of the culture could say, oh, well, Drake is still eating, but Pusha T won that, and they can, do the articles and everything like that. When you're living in a yuppie, hipster, and even to an extent blipster type of environment with rap music, you're not going to really get that because most of the people who own those outlets are, don't look like us. And then on top of that, you have a lot of people who do look like us that are in favor of those people.
It depends on the curators. It really depends on the curators of the hip hop, whatever space they may come in, because, people forget. I mean, I'm cool with it if you have somebody that's like Miss Info, how she was from the 90s,
Miss
where
Info was dope.
She was the one that gave Nas his 5 mics for Illmatic. Yeah, right. So I have no problem with people like that, even if they come about different ways. What I do have a problem with is the real issue, my man, is it's the corporate. It's the corporations. That's what it is.
And that's the reason.
That's the real reason why that energy that you may be looking for is not as prominent as much as it should be.
That's a good point to what Prince made there, because Kanye West's whole thing towards Drake isn't pure either. It's on some bullshit. It's on some corporate shit with the Adidas deal and stuff like that. So like Kanye West, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
No, I apologize, sis. What I was saying is the fact that, and now the Lord's me back to my point. I don't know whether or not y'all caught what I said. I think the biggest mistake in hip hop when Sylvia Robinson gave Sugar Hill Gang a record contract to do Rapper's Delight.
Pause right there, real quick, caller. That's what I wanted to tie back into. Sorry about that, but I wanted to tie back in because you brought that up. That is something, to be honest with you, when you look at it, she's a pioneer. At the same time, it does set forth like this weird energy moving forward, though. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how people celebrated, I believe, what was it, when Rakim signed to MCA and he got the first $1 million contract in hip hop. Yeah, and you were like, you don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, because does that take the culture out of the initial curators, the guardians of the culture? Because remember now, Def Jam was originally Rick Rubin's company. Right, and people forget that Russell Simmons did not want to sign Public Enemy. All the people he's getting credit for now, he didn't want to sign them. Russell Simmons was actually on some weird cornball shit with certain acts.
Russell Simmons was a blipster.
Yeah, so he didn't see no reason to sign Public Enemy because he thought the pro-blackity black shit wasn't going to sell, not even understanding the culture. So you have to even look at those things, not only Sylvia, that moment in history with the $1 million signing, what Russell really played, what did that lead to, and things like that. So to your point, caller, maybe sometimes the wrong footing about how certain people who look like us kind of handled themselves within the culture moving forward.
And I think that we got to keep in mind what Prince said. You can't trust people just because they're black.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about New Edition. They were cheating teenage black boys out of money.
Yeah.
I forgot the guy's name. Then he goes on and creates, what's that corny ass group that was popular in the 80s that copied off of the style of New Edition?
New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, he goes around, black guy. He goes around and then he goes prop up New Kids on the Block. after he tries to move on from New Edition and after not paying those kids any money. So we gotta understand that it's a fucked up thing, but some of the people who are actually a part of the culture who have created some shit that we all fuck with have also been parasites too. So I think when people get confused, they think it's one or the other. They think you either of the culture or you just a parasite. Nah, some people have created things that is a part of the culture, but they're also a parasite.
Yeah, man, because you think about this, caller, like, can you imagine Public Enemy not getting signed?
I couldn't even imagine my life even moving forward without Public Enemy getting signed, though, because Rebel Without a Pause, that kind of helped me through my youth.
I mean, but that's crazy. That's crazy if you really think about it. Public Enemy not getting signed. Remember, another reason why I bring up Russell Simmons, because remember, Russell Simmons said he didn't want to sign Nas. He sounded too much like Cool G Rap. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's sometimes the shit starts right there at the beginning. All the shit that sometimes that people are complaining about now, some of this stuff got kicked off early, and people have been copying, Russell, then the Puffies, then you know what I'm saying? It keeps going with a certain type of energy that just kind of doesn't break. And so that may lead up to where we are right now. And I don't think anything is new. To Sin's point, what I do believe, it's no longer going to go back to the microphone, my man, because the corporations are in it now. It's, ain't it some shit? Think about that. When MGK disses Eminem on some, MC to MC shit, my microphone to your fucking microphone. And what happens? Calls are being made, Puffy and Jimmy on the phone. That's corporate structure right there.
Eminem has been using the corporate structure all the time in hip hop.
Yeah, so you think about that. That's why it won't ever go back to that. In fact, we can say we want to say, fuck the race shit. MGK was trying to take it back in essence to, you know what, I think I'm better than you.
Well, some
of
it is already there. If we're talking about the battle rap scene. The problem, again, is like black people who are of the culture who are also not parasites, where there are those out there too. You just gotta own the culture. I mean, you got b-boying events that are big around the globe, including in Korea and China and everywhere. You got DJs making millions of dollars for the corny ass EDM, but we already know that the DJs being the star was first in hip hop and in rap culture. So it's really about actually. Hip hop culture has been sold off like a corporation. So you got
it's been auctioned off.
Yeah, you got the b-boy and somebody else owns that. The whole battle rap, they're already trying to get into
the Japanese are owning the breakdance and shit right now.
Yeah, you got the DJs, that's like European DJs now who do EDM, corny EDM music, that are making big money. Even though people like DJ Clue or some other people may be having some issues if they don't do certain type of music. So you really have it just being sold off, assets of it.
I really wanted to go back to what it's talking about with MGK and Eminem and what it represented, caller. Because let's keep it real, MGK dropped a diss record.
I think he's a part of Interscope too, but they don't care about him like that.
No, because Eminem brought the most money.
Exactly.
That Eminem has brought a lot of money in. Come on, he had 3 albums that went diamond. Like, he's brought a lot of money into Interscope.
Oh no, two. He had 2 albums that went diamond and one almost went diamond.
Yeah, okay, so 2.5 albums that went diamond, right? But the point is this, is that instead of just going ahead and saying, let me respond back to this little pimple, right? We do all of this shit. I got to go talk to Sway, and I got to get Jimmy Iovine, and Joe Budden said to Rory, I talked to Puffy, he said he'll handle it. That's why you don't see that energy, caller, that you said you're looking for, because the corporate infrastructure is in there. So when you diss another artist, when 2 big giants go at each other, it's no longer this artist just, okay, you took an L, see if we come back. Corporations feel we don't want our guy attacked because we're going to lose money. So let's start making calls behind the scene. Let's sort these things out really quick. And so that's why that competitive energy has been geared towards another way, coming to the money and the marketing. That's why you saw people was holding Kendrick Lamar from going at Drake. You know what I'm saying? Because it's this whole corporate infrastructure there. That's where a lot of this shit changes at.
And you got to be careful who you rock with. I mean, their persona doesn't really mean anything, because personas, are falsified, or it's just an aspect of yourself. There are people, when 50 Cent came out, they're like, yo, that's the niggas that I want to rock with. That's the energy I want to rock with. But let's not forget, a dancing nigga called MC Hammer was really trying to put niggas on all the way through, and everybody laughed at him. So it's like, just because someone is coming at it in an energy that feels real to you don't mean they're real though.
But you know what? Another thing, real quick, caller, and then we'll let you have your final thoughts. To the point that we're both making here is, again, that energy that I know what energy you're looking for, because sometimes I be looking for it and I have to go look at the battle raps, or I have to go back to some joints from the 90s and the 80s. But think about this. You can even use 50 Cent. Jadakiss had nowhere near the album sales of a 50 Cent, but Jadakiss's voice, because of who he was in the culture, meant something. It's like some E.F. Hutton shit, right? If he speak, everybody listen, right? So when Interscope said, don't diss our money man right now, 50 Cent, and Jadakiss was like, fuck it, right? And he dropped his diss records, right? You know what they did to Jada's albums, right? They set his shit on the shelf. And remember, he was all in the Source magazines talking about, he's like, yo, they not playing fair because I responded back. He dropped Problem Child. He dropped Miss Jackson. When he did that, Interscope, they was like, all right, well, we're going to put a pause on your albums because we told you, because of who the fuck you are and what you mean to New York, and we know demographically 50 Cent wasn't all that favored at a certain level in his career in New York. For you to say something, we're going to punish you because this is our moneymaker, and that's what's going on in hip-hop, and it continues to go on.
Which leads me to one last thing about Kanye West. Kanye West is of the culture, but I don't trust the Kanye West. I don't trust most of these guys. Like, just because they are of the culture, and some of them are really smart when it comes to the creative side of music, not outside of music. But a lot of black people, just be careful and be aware. I mean, that's how people in the industry get eaten up anyway. Oh my God, so-and-so called me. I love their albums.
I don't know that nigga. Get them off the phone.
It's like, okay, well, they're about to swallow you and spit you up with nothing left. Like, come on, some of these niggas are paying dudes,
ghost tracks,
$500 for a track, or
ghost writers, ghost producers
for an instrumental. Like, they're giving slave wages. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, be careful that your admiration for people
don't blind you.
Yeah. Because what I see with a lot of black people, with a lot of these guys, is like, come on, and you also can't let your niche get in your way too, because like we talk about singing niggas or dancing niggas. Again, MC Hammer was a dancing nigga, and this
rapping.
And this is not saying trust Drake either, because Drake has been lifted from niggas. But what I'm saying is, like, sometimes a real one can be somebody doing gangster rap. Sometimes not. Sometimes a real one can be a pop hip hop dude dancing around. Sometimes not. You never know unless you really do research on that person. Don't just go by the type of music they make.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to allude to one more fact, though, and I'm going to let it go. It's the fact that I guess the energy that I'm looking for is like when you first heard Ultramagnetics' first album, or when you heard Chill Raw first album, or even when you heard Illmatic and stuff like that, because that's when I was still up in Jersey, as a little shorty and stuff like that, playing the park or up on the corners and stuff like that. You had Norton with the Sony and stuff like that. You hear Premier with them hard-ass drums with New York State of Mind, and maybe I'm looking for that same energy, maybe I'm looking for that same appeal. So when I get remotely something close to that, I want that shit to ride on. And so when you look at the Pusha T situation, when you look at the Drake situation, you like, well, Drake went hard at Meek Mills. You figure Drake went hard at all these other cats, and for him not to respond and to give some bullshit-ass fucking interview in regards to what happened, and people riding his dick over that shit. And I'm like, yo, come on. You're supposed to be an MC. Rap, nigga.
Well, you know what? It's more than the microphone now. Like, you got to understand, man, if you really look at it, these guys are practicing war on each other. It's
economic warfare.
It's not even, like, come on. When somebody can give you the slight right hand of God, and when the word blackball comes up in this, that's war, homie. Like, blackball means you've cut me off from feeding my family. I have to come to you and submit and apologize.
Which is
publicly,
why a lot of them become parasites because. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, it's not the microphone thing anymore. It's not like, yo, I think Kane trying to be slick on Ra. Ra said something back. It's not even about it, because even with Nas, as dope of a lyricist as he is, go back to that era of his life where he said he felt Jay-Z was doing funny shit behind the scenes, and he felt certain radio stations favored Hov more because of his stardom and all of that type of stuff, and that they weren't allowing him to do certain things. Like, remember that whole infamous, he was going to lynch a doll of Jay-Z on stage, and then Hot 97, yeah, they was like, nah, you can't do that. And then Nas went on this rant where he started calling everybody coons. He called the Roots coons for working with Jay-Z on the Unplugged. Like that's because it's war. It's not just about bars. It's like when Jay-Z says, "You little fuck, I got money stacks bigger than you." In other words, henceforth, my power in this industry, if you really want to go to war with me, is bigger than just you as a person. So when we're looking at Drake, when we're looking at the Kanyes, think about the people that have pissed him off and have gotten shifted around. You saw Tory Lanez was caught up in a Canadian washing dryer for a moment until he submitted to Drake publicly.
And you can't, there's really most of these people you can't choose sides because they become the very thing that they were irritated with. There was moments where Drake almost got blackballed. There was moments with Kanye West when he first started off almost got blackballed. Most of these niggas almost got blackballed themselves. So when they get into a position of power, what do you think they do? They start doing the same shit that they were crying about when they were hungry coming up.
Yeah, I'm a blackball you, man. So that's what they doing. I hear what you're saying, Carla, because we said it ourselves. We would have loved to hear just a diss track back and forth, but you got corporations.
On some hip hop.
Yeah, man, but we got it's corporations in it now. That's what it is, and it's war. It's just straight up war. Anytime Yahoo name starts showing up in shit and they start promoting an image or an artist a specific way, this is all war. This is economic warfare with these fucking rappers with each other. They blackballing each other, trying to subjugate each other. It's crazy, man. It's everything but the microphone now.
But KRS-One said that, and I'm still number one. If you really listen to the bars in that record, though, just like from beginning to end, KRS-One said this shit back in '88 on that By Any Means Necessary album. Like, right. He said this almost the same shit.
Yeah.
Damn, that's ironic.
No doubt, man. We appreciate you, Carla, man. He came through banging, man. I like that energy. That's what I'm talking about.
Carla, name me where you're from.
K2 from Houston, Texas.
What's up, Houston in the building?
What's going on, man? I just wanted to, address what's going on with this Kanye situation, man, because I don't know if everybody realize what he's doing, man, and he really walking us back to the plantation. If you really look at it, he started off with that whole Confederate flag shit, trying to make that cool again. And then when you look at his clothing line, it's a bunch of fucking slave clothes that he's putting up for sale. And now you got him in a White House samboing for this goddamn, this fucking president. I don't even know what to call this shit, man. It's like, it's visible.
Yeah, it's just the hypocrisy thing. I don't like people who try to put you in a container or a box and they talk about either or. It's both Republicans and Democrats are bad for you, even though there are a few of them that are not. But you got to elect those people to get in there. And there's other options. You got the Green Party, Independent Party. Like, that's why I get irritated with these crybabies. It's like when you critique any of these people, including a Kanye West who doesn't know anything about politics, he goes up there and you got black people calling us now saying, Trump hasn't done anything to black people or the Republicans, it's just the Democrats. It's like, say that to people in Flint, Michigan. Most of the people who fucked them up over there for that particular issue were Republicans. And also Hillary Clinton, too. Well, of course, we're talking about Bill Clinton, 3 strikes. None of them are good. But, yeah, like what you're saying, you got Kanye West was doing the Confederate flag with Yeezus. And then, the whole thing with Trump, and Trump signed the executive order for the Blue Lives Matter policy. It's like, I just want people to be smarter, and it's really hard when you're dealing with a public, most of them who work a lot of hours, or most of them who work hard, so when they get off, they just want to play. They may listen to mainstream things here and there, and they think they have their own thoughts. But when your own thoughts and opinions aren't even based off of facts, it's like, how can people take you serious? If you caper for Republicans as a collective, or you caper for Democrats as a collective, then you're just someone who's playing for brands. I want to know what Democrat are you talking about? What Republican are you talking about? What are the other options?
What are the
there?
policies?
You know, are you talking about policies when you telling people to vote? No, this is what you're doing. If most black conservatives, when I see them, Trump is not an issue. Republicans are not an issue. At least they tell us to our face we could work with them. The issue is Democrats. And then if you have a fucking black liberal, the Republicans are just racist. Yeah, but is it everybody who's Republican who's a part of eminent domain? No, the Democrats put eminent domain in there where 300,000 black families were displaced in Harlem back in the 50s. So it's both of them. It's like, stop playing me.
Well, call it when you brought up those points, right? That crossed my mind because, I have dark humor. And I said, this nigga is on some Django shit. He got the clothes. He got the Confederate flag. And I just laughed at the irony of it. I think, to be honest with you, I think Kanye West is, this may sound fucked up for a lot of it. I think, in essence, when it comes to this culture, I think Kanye West is punishment for a lot of people. And this is what I mean. This is what happens when we make gods of men, okay? And we have made Kanye West a god. We have been cool with him walking around as a god, calling himself a god.
The emperor with no clothes.
Rearing it in everybody's face. Yeah. And now you can't control your God. Your God has gotten away from you. Your God don't even serve you. Think about that. The God now, God Jesus, don't even serve his subjects anymore. Now he's found new people to serve. Now other people pray to your gods. Other people have claimed your God. And that's what I feel right now when it likes of Kanye West. I think Kanye West is punishment and retribution to a culture that continuously makes men and women gods, and now people are crying because they don't know what to do with him, just like people have cried about it in the Bible and the Quran about not knowing what to do with a God that was vengeful on them. If you look in the Bible, all through the Western Christian Bible, God is a jealous God, God is a vengeful God, and nobody could get rid of him, right? And so that's what I feel with Kanye West. And for Cindy now, we're going to do what we do. We're going to support the people who are actually doing something. We're going to support and even shout out certain celebrities, although we're not star fuckers. But if we see celebrities making the right moves, then we like, oh, that's a good look. But as far as Kanye West, I think he's purely retribution for a culture that continuously worships men and women who are only entertainers. And Kanye West is a god that has gotten away from a lot of people.
And it's about pros and cons. People be like, yo, Kim did this, she got certain people out of jail, and of course, for those people, I understand they're going to be praising her because they're out of prison. Doesn't matter what the means or reasons are. But Bill Clinton did some good things as president and did a lot of bad things for black people. Are you going to say, well, he did that one good thing? Yeah, but what about NAFTA? What about the 3 strikes? What did the con overlap the pro? That's what you need to think about. If you're an idiot that think one little pro somehow eliminates like 20 cons, then you're not a smart person. That's what people do with celebrities and politicians. They be like, well, that person donated to the poor. But they also put a lot of money into a corporation that puts a lot of black people in prison, and 70% of people in prison didn't even get a chance to go into the court. Didn't even have a trial. 70% of people in prison right now haven't even gone to trial. So to me, I don't look at, oh, this person did one thing good. That means, therefore, I should look at it on an equilibrium. Like, no, that's not even 50-50. We're not even talking about a person who did 50% this is pro and 50% this is con. We're talking about most of the time 80% con and like maybe 20% pro.
But also speak about that, though, because think about Carla. Think of what she just said. Yeah. Think what she just said. This is the game. That's why I said all of this is a war. Culture war to your mama. Y'all know we all grew up with our mamas. Baby, it's spiritual warfare out here. Be careful, right? We grew up with our folks, right? They told everything is war. Love and war. Love can be war. And the inverse can be said as well. Think about it. Even in the act of appearing nice, I've donated to this charity, right? That same celebrity or politician or even the marriage of the two, because Obama was a hybrid, those same people won't tell you that them donating $2 million to a certain charity is the charity that puts that $2 million back in their own pocket. So it's just even the appearance of being nice is an act of war.
And that's
you know what I'm
what
saying? It's a
pisses me
very
off.
deceptive act. So I think to me personally, with all this Kanye West shit, man, I'm a big believer in the universe. I just think Kanye West is fucking payback.
Yeah,
That's what I feel.
And that's the thing that irritates me is when you're being a moralist. Now, some people can say and look at it without emotions or whatever and say, well, if I can push this person, whether it be a lobbyist, whatever, for this politician to do as I say, I'm cool with that.
Right.
I don't like people in my face, though, talking about what somebody being morally good or not when most of y'all don't even pay attention to shit every day. So don't come to me about a celebrity. Don't come to me about a politician, because most of y'all don't even have time to read about that. Like, I disagree with people who say, oh, people don't read, because actually books have made a comeback. When people was, scared about the Kindle, they was like, oh, people won't be reading from. No, actually, books still sell very well.
I'm reading
but it's
on
about what are you reading though?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, what do you listen to? But man, that's what I think about the whole Kanye West thing, to be honest with you. We have a culture, and you've seen it yourself, man. You probably seen it in your neighborhood. There's some people that don't deserve the praise that people are giving them, but because they can do a little monkey trick, people rock with them. And I just think Kanye West is a god that has turned on many of the subjects that have worshipped him. And he has had a god complex since he was chasing Ashton Kutcher around asking for his film back on Punk. You got any final thoughts, Caller, man? Anything you want to say on this pertaining to either of the gods, Yeezus or the sixth god?
Man, I kind of wanted to get a quick take on something else, man, because y'all touched on the Jay Prince thing earlier. I'm from Houston, man, and it's a lot of things going on in the city. It's a big catastrophe going on right now because you got the young guys, the up and coming artists going at the old guys.
I saw that. Hey, tell me what's going on, because I saw Bun B, his Instagram post, and he was talking about, if Pimp C was alive, he would be very upset that the doors he was trying to break down, y'all trying to bring him back up. Can you fill the people in on what's going on with the rappers in the city of Houston?
Man, and the rappers in the city of Houston, man, like it all started with Slim Thug. And don't get me wrong, man, I love Slim Thug. We're from the same neighborhood, but he does speak out of term a lot, and he doesn't know how to express himself all the time. And it get taken out of context, but he was shitting on some of the young and up-and-coming artists, saying that I'm independent, I can't get you no deal, I can't put you on and all that, which is actually true, man. It's true, but the way he said it offended a lot of people. Now you got the young cats going at the old cat. But my whole thing and my train of thought is, only person that could really put you on in this city, man, is a Scarface or a Jay Prince or maybe even a Travis Scott, because now he's done pretty much glowed up and leveled up. But, a lot of the guys that was around when the city had the shine on them, man, them guys dropped the ball, man. Everybody hated on Flip. They didn't take up for Flip like they should have. Even Scarface turned on Flip.
I saw that, yeah. What's crazy about it? Yeah, because Jay Prince, I think it's the Junior Prince, isn't he? He's behind like the YBN Cordays and all them guys right now, correct? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The thing is, though, with first of all, they're going to have to get their act together, number one, because Houston is a very powerful city, and if they choose to fall into that, and I don't know what's wrong with Slim Thug. I think somebody need to take his damn phone away from him. He keeps doing these things, right? But that being said, they're going to have to be careful, because we've known historically Houston rap beef always resulted and ended in violence. There's a lot of legends who've gotten killed in Houston just because of stupid-ass rap beefs.
Never made it out.
Yeah, especially the north side and the south side shit that still kind of permeates today. So I think they need to have a council meeting, and I think it's very irresponsible for Slim Thug to say that, and in an inarticulate fashion, knowing that there's so many young artists, men and women, soul singers, rappers trying to do what they're doing in Houston, especially with the independent scene out there.
I think it's dumb shit that Slim Thug said, because this is why I think he's full of shit even saying he can't help people, because the audience is currency itself. you don't have to literally put someone on by putting money in their pocket or anything like that, of course. If you have you making sure you're secure with your finances as an independent artist. But when you said dumb shit about Sierra, it spread all over social media. You don't think
somebody take his phone?
Yeah, you don't think if you you don't think if you routinely, shouted out these kids, gave them promotion, that in itself is currency. I don't understand this one-dimensional thinking when niggas think you have to put money in somebody's pocket
and that's wipe his ass.
And that's the only way you can help them. Like, you can help people just with attention.
I'll tell you what, caller, number one point here. Think about this. Let's kick the ballistics about Slim Thug's already platinum album. One of my favorite albums as far as just riding around to still a knocker, right? But can we let's dissect Slim Thug's image. Now, did he hustle in the time where CDs, mixtapes was selling very well? Yep, Slim Thug got it popping just like Cassidy got it popping in Philly. He got it popping just like Fabulous was getting it popping in Brooklyn. He got it popping just like T.I. and Jeezy was getting it popping in the mixtape circuit of Atlanta, Georgia. He has been privileged to come up in a time where album sales were really doing well. You could sell on a mixtape level, Wayne was doing it, or you can sell with a studio album, right? Now, my problem with Slim Thug, maybe he forgot like his hairline, but my problem with Slim Thug is this, Playboy. Let's not act like you didn't get the gravy train of attention at a time when albums did very well, when Pharrell produced your shit. You know what I mean? Exactly. Pharrell, who at the time and still is one of the hottest multi-talented producers, but Pharrell was producing shit for Slim Thug at the time where Pharrell had the magic fingers. He was coming off the high of the Clips. He was coming off the high of Mystical. He was coming off the high of a lot of the Clones album. We're talking about Nerve. Yeah. So when he was in there with the Star Trap, all of that shit, and he came on it, come on, Slim Thug didn't break on his debut album with a Houston producer. He went to Virginia. His record label sent him Jay-Z on the remix. Nigga, you had all of the attention on your first album, so you mean to tell me your 6'6" Slim Thug ass cannot just shout out a young nigga? It ain't even about you taking them on. It's just like, yo, this cat here, I like this. I'm feeling Kurt Cobain's. I'm feeling this cat. I'm feeling this cat out of the Third Ward.
And also,
things like
Pimp
that.
C was able to do it, and you got the internet, nigga. What are you talking about? I'm gonna have to rock with Bun B on this one, and this is where I make my decision on this. Information and attention is currency,
especially now.
You had people in the game talk to dudes who aren't like these big mega stars, but told them how they set up their business, how you can be independent, how you making money, how you do your taxes, stuff like that. And they went on to make it and be fine. I think Thug is full of shit because you can help the young guys by telling them how you construct and engage in business, how your structure of your company is going to be, your brand. Also, when you get attention, whether it's on these social media platforms, how you can correlate that into actually making money and getting your advertisement, stuff like this. You can make these guys at least get 10 grand a month, or at least 20 grand or 2 grand a week, where of course you ain't making money like Drake or anything, but you know what? That's a start. Then from that, you can go into investment. All these niggas saying they can't help put people on is full of shit. Now, if it was somebody who's new, who's saying, wait, let me figure things out. Once I get on and understand my own business, I got to understand
my own power.
Yeah, I got to understand how to do taxes, stuff like that. Once I get to know that, then I'm going to help you out. He ain't even saying that. For those niggas, I understand. Once you get on, you can't help people while you drowning. You can only help people while you're already on. That's different. But for those who are already on and they're not going through no transitioning, you should be able to help people out.
I don't know, man. I'm going to have to do a stream on this one. I don't like that because Slim Thug is full of shit, and I like Slim Thug. Yeah. I like the shit. There's shit I like Slim Thug does, but for him to blatantly say that, like, we got to even see Houston is there are moments where there's accidents that I think they look back on and like, I think we jumped too hard. I think the Mike Jones shit that they went too hard on. Mike Jones could have been pulled to the side and said, Playboy, don't no run nigga run this city. We different. We not New Yorkers. You can't just say that out here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can say King of New York, it is what it is. Y'all just gonna wax it out. But when a nigga in the South say I run the city, he might get punched in his mouth at the Ozone Awards. All right? That's exactly what happened. So, and then the whole thing concerning Lil Flip.
Well, real quick before you go forward, I do agree with you to not be biased, even though I'm from the East Coast. Yeah. Is that in the South there is a temperament is you could be big, but remember, is a collective thing that raises all tides. Don't be no Napoleon nigga, because then we're going to have an issue with you. So I do, it does feel like that's the mentality over there.
And it's like, even when like Lil Flip lyrically took a L against T.I. after the 99 Problems, but it was like, I didn't like how the city turned on Flip though. And only when I saw standing next to him publicly was somebody like Zero, because remember they had that mixtape together, you know what I'm saying? Zero kind of always held his own in that regard. So I think, to be honest with you, even Slim nigga, I wish I could talk to that big tall nigga. Let me say this real quick. The reason why he's full of shit again, because if you can't put nobody on, then what the fuck was Paul Wall, Mike Jones, and you two, and you nigga and Michael 5000 Watts was doing on a steel tipping joint when that was the first time most niggas have heard of all three of y'all. All three of y'all worked to put each other on, and then y'all started fighting after the platinum plaque started coming in. So Slim Thug is full of shit again, Playboy, because at that time you all made sure y'all worked together to put each other on. That's one of the things that was going on with the stuff. So I don't know what this new energy is with Slim Thug that he keeps saying this weird shit on there. If somebody knows Slim Thug, get in contact with him. I would love to chop it up with him. What are you trying to say concerning your city? Because you got to be careful, because people in your city look at you like a legend, and you don't want niggas to look at you like, all right, so now you in the way and you looking like food.
I just wish he clarified. If you said something like, I can't put everybody on, only people who has the work ethic, people who have the talent, that's different. Because I will also want to say the other side of the story. You do have people who aren't talented trying to look for you to do something for them. You can't make something work that's not there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But overall, I think
I just want him to clear it. Yeah, he got to clear it up, because he didn't come out by himself. Everybody first saw that big tall nigga. If you weren't in the South, if you was on just seeing him on TRL, you first saw him talking next to a Mike Jones, who kept repeating his name, and then you saw a white boy.
Mike Jones,
and you saw you saw him standing next to a white boy with a nigga fade. You know what I'm saying? So there was people that was like, yo, who are these three dudes?
I'm gonna say it. Being from New York, I first heard of Slim Thug through the whole Mike Jones shit. Mike Jones. Then I saw Slim Thug. Then I saw Paul Wall. Then I kept going down the line of other rappers that were from there. But yeah, the first one for me, personally, being from Jersey, is Mike Jones.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, man. I'd love to have a stream on that, because there was a time where Houston had it before everybody else had it, with the 93 releases of UGK and some other cats as well. Yeah. Then they kind of, there was an issue. Then it became about Atlanta and Memphis, and then it went back to Houston by way of Slim Thug and the Chingo Bling niggas. Whether you thought Chingo Bling was corny or not, he was selling records with them essays. I mean, like I would love to chop it up with Slim Thug and say, like, what the fuck you meant by that. But yeah, man, caller, always play a good Third Coast representative. All right,
man, appreciate y'all, man.
Peace.
Caller, name and where you're from.
This Audio Cyrus.
Yo, what's up, man?
In the Bay Area.
Bay Area in the house.
What's up, man?
Getting off work, just catching y'all for like the last hour. Looks like you got various topics going on right now. What's the main issue y'all are dealing with, or is it kind of free for all?
Oh yeah. You said what was our thoughts on? Yo,
hello?
Yeah, can you hear us? Your audio.
Yeah. No, I read the title, but what's like the main subject matter you guys are dealing with right now?
Oh, right now we're all over the place, but pretending to
rap.
Yeah,
all over the place, yeah.
But we started off talking about the whole situation of Drake and Kanye West, because some people say he's just gossiping and stuff, but I actually disagree. We had people, when we first started talking about the whole thing with Pusha T and stuff, it was people who didn't even like Drake, who came and told us what happened, and Drake said the exact same story that they told us. So for us, we don't believe he's lying. He's just telling the truth of exactly what took place there. That, he really didn't care about Pusha T, because he opened up and talked about his personal issues and stuff to Kanye West. He showed him his kid. He told him what was going on with the girl that, he had unprotected sex with on the first night and all that. And Kanye West eventually used that information against him with Pusha T. So that's what we started
Now,
off the conversation with.
So let's pause on that real quick because that's interesting. Because just in that alone, Kanye West running around touting himself as a mental health issue. He's dealing with mental health issues. He's dealing with what he feels like is persecution from the media, the liposuction, all these different things. All these things where he's basically saying everything but I'm dealing with grieving with my mother, right? Interesting that he's not sensitive to these personal issues with Drake, but he wants you to be sensitive of all his free thinking, all his antics and so forth. That's just a point that just kind of came to mind when you just said that, right? Like, how are you going to call or, send this information over to Pusha T to kind of start this beef and this whole internet war, right? This online, war. Then you come on you piggyback on that with, I got mental health issues, leave me alone.
Well,
like,
I think
you're writing
this
blank
is
checks for yourself.
Yeah, this is what
right.
This is what I'll say about it with the Kanye West thing, man. I'll just be honest with you. I really have wrapped it up in one bookmark because I've had family that has had issues with mental health as well. Kanye West in his head, he's not playing by the same rules as everybody else. We feel we feel it when we fall out of the bed and we fall on the floor. We feel gravity. Everything in Kanye's head is weightless. He's floating. His cup is floating. Kim's ass is floating. Her silicone cheeks is floating. Northwest is floating. Nothing's on the ground. There's no foundation. Sure. And for me personally, I think one of the most complicated things for people when dealing with issues with people who have mental health is always keeping that on the table, that they're not playing by the same rules as me.
There's no dots connecting, right? Like,
and they can still be
manipulative.
For him. Yeah, no, exactly, and they can still be manipulative too. People think because you have mental health issues that you still can't be manipulating. Kanye West is very manipulating, but he still has mental issues too.
Exactly, yeah. You can still have certain traits.
He's still capitalizing. You can still operate in a capitalistic fashion.
Right.
You can still be this narcissistic sort of person, whatever like that. Yeah. No, totally. I think it's even like a double exposure of what's really going on, right? And the fact that you're saying it and you're so verbal about it. And watching him yesterday, obviously you don't have to go into all that, but that was just obviously enough. I think if that doesn't say anything to anyone, to write him, he's canceled. Like, I don't even like using that term, but he's actually canceled at this point. I was trying to give him a chance. But okay, something else with Pusha T, just real quick, because has anyone from the Wu-Tang Clan camp vouched for his statement about this being his purple tape? And in him saying that, does anyone agree with him in him saying that is he saying that this is like the purple tape or this is his purple tape? If it is, are you saying this is your first breakout, like this is your best solo effort? Like, how is he comparing this to the purple tape, Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links? And is there any validation to that from anyone?
I think RZA
and
probably
is that kind of cheating? Like, go ahead.
I think RZA, if out of anyone that would probably co-sign that, it probably would be RZA, because RZA collaborated a lot with Kanye West. He got close ties to good music, and RZA sometimes do goofy stuff and say goofy things. So if I had to guess, even though I don't know, I would guess RZA.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you got to look at it like
You're
this
saying
too.
RZA's the one who co-signed or kind of put that thought in the Pusha T's head?
If I had to guess, who would co-sign it? I mean, not put the thought in his head, but who would co-sign it?
Well, another thing I'll say about it too is, I think when we're talking about accolades, Pusha T does have the merits to declare whatever he wants to in hip hop, because you got to remember Pusha T and his brother they've been at this thing since 1994. You know what I'm saying?
They made great music together.
Yeah, and we got to understand they do have 2 officially certified classics in hip hop. So he's letting his nuts hang wherever he feels because of his merits in hip hop. But on the flip side, I mean, one could be said about some of the members from Wu-Tang. I think Raekwon, Ghostface, and Method Man are the only 3 members I think that have certified classic albums by the likes of the Source Magazine solo album. Oh yeah, and the
GZA, the Liquid Swords.
The Liquid Swords.
What about ODB?
Yeah, and
ODB.
Return to the 36.
ODB too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think for him
I
to
think
I just want to interject really quick. I think the ODB album, because as it's aptly titled, The Return to the 36 Chambers, is more so a second Wu-Tang Clan album.
Yeah.
More so than the Method Man and the GZA album. But continue. And obviously the Raekwon album, because that's more of a collaborative, like
between
Ray and Ghost.
Ray and Ghost and
Capadonna. All of them have classic albums, except for maybe 2 or 3. Well, 3 of them. What's that dude?
Say the first part again.
I think all of them have at least one classic album, with the exception of maybe
solo.
Exception of maybe 1 or 2, maybe.
Well, I think
you got to respect the deck.
I think actually you guys shit came a little
later.
Yeah,
you guys actually crept up on me.
He came out.
Grew on me. Yeah,
when he dropped that Dopium
Lay
album.
Down and shit.
Yeah, when he did that Dopium album, which was I said that could be argued as his classic. He did that like in 2000 something. But going back to Pusha T. One thing I do agree with many like hardcore hip hop nerds that you can't take some of the stuff he says away from him, because his credentials is just as valid as anybody else you can name in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's
you're
what
right.
I guess
no, go ahead.
No, I think that's what made the energy, the dynamic between him going at Drake and people juxtaposing both of their images a little differently. Like it's like but they forget though, Drake is a hip hop nerd. He knows about the MF Dooms, the MF Grams, the Deltrons,
the Mac Dre's.
He knows about all of that shit. That's why he's able to switch between certain things or call things out of notice.
Right.
He just chose to market himself differently. You know what I'm saying? And then there are some guys that are kind of weird where like if somebody says, "Oh, Drake, he reposted the Doomsday album, right? The MF Doom album," and all the hip hop nerds say, "You don't have no right to post the album. You'll fucking sell it." Right? But then on the flip side, though, you'll get a Lupe Fiasco and he'll tell you, "I've never listened to A Tribe Called Quest," and people's like, "What? You?" So
I think people get into their feelings
that's
so much.
More problematic than Drake posting MF Doom. If you're saying that, I would say. But go ahead.
No, yeah, because I mean, people forget, even though certain groups come from the native tongue branch, like a Tribe Called Quest, they also was though the people who really started the whole backpack. If you think about No ID, if you talk about Q-Tip, you talk about Mos Def, if you talk about Consequence, if you talk about Common,
Black Moon,
like all those dudes, they may have come from that other branch, but they created that new branch, which they started working on, Kanye West album, some of them people. And then we saw what we got with the college dropout. But the whole,
that's something that's really been on my mind lately, is the fact that, as somebody who kind of, I kind of stepped away from like mainstream, let's say hip hop, like right around the time when like, Hate Me Now came out, right? That's when I really kind of was like, okay, I'm not checking for anything even on Rap City, as far as like, this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to stay underground. I'm going to kind of block out a lot of stuff because it's all starting to look formulaic, right? And when I come back around and see Kanye early on, when I really, I started hearing his name. And again, I wasn't really big on Jay-Z, and I'll just say that out front. I kind of got more into him, like maybe with Common and somebody like that, or like, even on his own, on his, obviously his solo stuff. But what I meant to say is that he really was about like bringing back just the hip hop sound. And that's what I was really like excited about, regardless of whether, I liked the song, whether or not I liked the song All Falls Down, right? Because like, I didn't really like the song, but I liked the fact that it sounded like stuff that came out 10 years prior, right? That was exciting, and it was a wave that kind of came, but it almost seemed like the industry completely isolated him as just the only one who's doing it, and they picked one person.
I did see that. Well, that's one thing I did see that I will say, and I'm with you, Audio, because when All Falls Down came out, I will be honest with you. I was not feeling the song. It was something. I don't know. It was the way the instruments were mixed that it was it was irritating my ears at first, and then over time I got it
clean, or it was like like you said, the mix was wonky.
It was something about it, but I understood it, and plus I was already familiar with Kanye West, so I was like, okay, what's good? He's getting his shine. I had at the time I was deferring to Lil Brother, Nappy Roots, guys like that.
There you go.
Right. Well, the thing about Kanye West being put at the top of all that is based in the country's religious beliefs.
Right.
They believe in a mono. Mono is everything, so they always gonna put like
the one
for something, even though that's not the case. You know, it's not like people believe in deities or anything or a collective. Group type of mindset.
Wow, I like how you dovetailed that. That was good.
That is true.
Because that's a common theme that's kind of going around right now. The cult of personality, like this whole singularity syndrome. Like, let's put all our eggs in one basket case. You know what I'm saying? Like. And so everyone's like, oh, Kanye. But when it's not Kanye, then who is it now? Who is it right now? Right? Like, if it's not Jay-Z, then who is it right now? Like, when there's nobody, then who is it? You see what I mean? When you're sitting there waiting for somebody, when you think it's always got to be one person, and then there'll be those times when, like, we're seeing the one person that a lot of people were looking to is disappointing you, then who is it? It's not a Drake. It's not a Kanye. It's not. And we don't need to be looking for. I'm that person. You're that person. You know, Prince and Sincere. Y'all are those people. You feel me? Like, it's not about like, and that's what's really just kind of what hip hop has become, because it used to be about the groups. It used to be about the collaboration. It used to be about. That's what a cult. We can't call it a culture anymore because it's really about isolationism. It's really about the cellular image. It's really about one person at a time, one nigga at a time, or maybe a couple, but they're all individual. You see what I'm saying? Like, we gone to the point where, you know, we're waiting for A$AP Rocky and Tyler the Creator to do a collab instead of these motherfuckers should have just been in a group already. Like, or back in the day, people would have been like a Helter Skelter or like a Smith & Wesson. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
but you know what?
That's what's really, you can't call it a culture when there's no collective in the representation.
Right. No, you're right. It's just, you would probably cut culture off. It's just a cult. You know, if you're a cult behind, if you're a cult behind Drake, if you're a cult of Kanye, that's what it is. But but even you got to understand this too, though. Like, you know, Chuck D did talk about this. The reason why you stopped seeing groups in hip hop is because the record labels felt it was too expensive to sign, you know, 5 dudes or 6 dudes or 9 dudes in the Wu-Tang's case, and then all of their damn affiliates, because Wu-Tang got so many damn affiliates. But then, because think about it, like, you know, what many of these guys are doing now, they're using a lot of these groups as launching pads. So, you know, when people see, you know, the Oddball Gang, whatever their name is, people are like, oh, it's a bunch of dudes that spit on posse cuts. Because the posse cut is kind of dead. I don't like him. Like, he's irritating.
I hear you on that.
I hear you on that. But he's a bit irritating. But Khalid was still bringing posse cuts. He still was bringing posse cuts along the way. But no, man, that really just had to do with the corporations not wanting to sign groups anymore, or if they sign a group, they make an exclusive deal with the person they feel is the star of the group and then push them forward. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happens on that note. And you're not going to really see any more of that energy because many of these people you know, their ego won't allow it as well, man. Audio Band, we always appreciate you calling in, though, player. You know what I'm saying? And dropping that knowledge.
Just one last little piece.
Okay.
You know, I don't hear enough people talking about Earth Gang, you know, out of Spillage Village, out of Atlanta. Again, another good group. And again, you know, it just really, like, got to the point where, you know, we don't have that. When's that going to come back? We don't have a band. We don't have a fucking, like, a duo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a positive image, just seeing black people collaborating, right? But look in white space, if you will. look at every rock group that you've ever really heard of. For the most part, they stick together. And if they don't, they'll replace people, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, you don't see the infighting, you know, maybe with people like the Pixies and fucking whatever. But what I'm saying is like, that's by design in a lot of ways. Like you said, the industry has kind of squeezed out that aspect. And we, in it, I don't know, man. I think that's what the problem is with the music. That's why, you know, you see things mutating and getting warped, and like you said, in these cults of personalities versus making it about like just making good music. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I guess the competition is good for corporations, but is it good for the audience? Is it good for, you know, longevity? Who's going to be the next Drake in the next 10 years? Is it Travis Scott or is it Quavo? That's the question.
I don't think it's either one of them, but thank you for calling in, Audio, as well. From word on the street is that the Quavo album is horrible. And they say, did he had to resort? Did y'all see the press release of his album where he had somebody mocking Nicki Minaj, taking the purse out of the box, and he was like making fun of her, and the girl, she's like, yay! It's like he's got a whole setup. And I was like, oh, Quavo. Kind of lame, nigga. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I thought at least you have a little bit more style with it, but that was goofy. I don't know if y'all saw it. It's floating around on social media, and I thought it was interesting. But, you know, it's just what we said. It's always going to have that singular theory, you know, but that goes back to the heart of America. The founding fathers, the separate but equal philosophy. Superman, it's Batman, it's the one. Neo is the one. You know, when every other culture, for the most part, pertaining out of East Asia, Africa as well, their whole thing is pertaining to the community and the group collective. It's group collective intelligence versus singular intelligence, and we see it festered in all points of our lives here in America, which is why our egos are facilitated differently.
The Justice League is more powerful than Superman.
Superman was getting his ass whooped in some situations.
Superman has kryptonite. Everybody has a weakness.
They shot Flash in the leg one time.
You're supposed to have people that can see your blind spots and you can see theirs.
Somebody caught Wonder Woman shitting in the invisible jet.
Ew. That's nasty, Prince. Why you bring something like that
I mean, it's an invisible jet, but she's not. It's kind of weird.
We will be back at 10 a.m.
You sure you want to go 10 a.m. or we doing? I thought we was doing 11 a.m.
Nah, 10 a.m.
You moved it up?
Moved it up. If we gonna stay up for this, it gotta be 10 a.m. Oh, they said, oh shit,
Stockton how?
He said Prince on some bullshit sometimes.
How am I on some bullshit?
You probably talk about that Wonder Woman joke.
How Stockman? What happened?
You talk about seeing poopity scoop.
Let me find if it's
on the invisible jet.
Come on now. Y'all let me know. Stockman, let me know how am I on bullshit. We gave you a fantastic show. You see how niggas reward you?
No, he may be talking about, what if he talk about Wonder Woman though? That Wonder
I don't know.
Woman.
Maybe if he's talking about some simp shit, he might get roasted on the way out.
Poopity scoop. Poop-de-doo.
That was fucked up though, wasn't it?
Scoopity
you heard
scoop.
what Drake said? So what? He's just trolling me?
Yeah.
Like, what, he's just trolling me?
Poopity boop, scoop-de-doo.
Poop.
Poop.
Scoopity.
Scoopity-doo.
Shouts out to Rule Breakers as well. Shouts out to everybody, all the Night Shift Gang affiliated Negroes and Negresses. We will be back at 10 a.m. As Sin talked about it, we'll be talking about some of the things that we have, and we will let you all know.
The Rock.
Yes.
The Rock says, we're talking about John Henry, him playing that role. Iron Fist being canceled, which I find to be funny.
Say that, brother. How do you feel about me playing John Henry?
And some more surprise subjects.
Am I black enough for you?
Y'all.
The Rock says, go get your money.
Come back here at 10 a.m. For those who haven't been at a club and who can wake up at 10 a.m. Right. Or for those who are still up.
Yeah, all right. We appreciate y'all. Y'all take care.
Oh, this is a nice one, too. Right when we're leaving out. Fat Cat.
Lime. Mashallah.
Check out his YouTube channel, everybody. Dope instrumentals.
Yeah. Rockefeller Records. Nah.
And we're going to leave out with the best rapper of all time. He claims to be the king of New York. Let's give it up for the retarded munchkin, Tekashi 6ix9ine. You ready for that, Prince? You ready
Tekashi French fries and onions, please.
You ready for that?
Yes.
All right.
Chili cheese, French fries.
Chili cheese.
Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me. Is that a challenge?
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Black folks are nosy. They have specials. Nosy specials. Why does a bee make honey? You ain't a bee. Why do you give a fuck?
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
If he dies, he dies.
I don't fuck with no new hoes. I'm from Mexico. Fuck that really in the hat hole. Bitch, you going slow. I'm a new nigga out here. Straight from Mexico. I be knocking niggas out like I'm no. I don't fuck with no old hoes or no Volvos whatsoever to a fucking shelter. Dark crimes are some hating ass fofos. Had an old hoe and she ate my asshole. And I'm still making cash hoe. Bitches on Instagram stunting like they know. Bitch, get out my fucking DMs, you old hoe. I'm the new nigga out in the streets rapping New York niggas. What the fuck you want with beef? Them niggas from the South can't compare to me. 50 Cent, shut the fuck up. You an old hoe, getting fucked in the asshole. Them G-Unit niggas are some homos. Shut the fuck up, you bitches. I'm the king of New York. Kodak. Yeah, that's right, bitches. It's Kodak, my niggas. Kodak on the beat. In New York with them corny niggas that be frontin' niggas, hopping pimples like an itchy nigga. You a silly nigga, straight be hitting on a southern nigga. Where the love niggas? I'm a thug nigga, y'all some bug niggas. In the projects with them roaches niggas, y'all look hopeless niggas. I'm getting cash cause I'm focused niggas. We on some gunning nigga shit. Take the cash then we split, do the dab making hits. It's young Kodak bitches. Kodak. Yeah, that's right, bitches. It's Kodak, my niggas. Kodak on the beat. Outside the fucking prison, man. We don't do that prison shit now. I'm out here running these streets, niggas. I'm back. King of the South, niggas. Shout out to 6ix9ine, niggas.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
This is Ye. Dark crimes think from their heart. This is why I fuck with them. And since all y'all listen to what I say anyway, subscribe to Dark Crimes. I'm a free thinker. They're a free thinker. We're a free thinker. I love Ye. And I know everybody loves Ye. Ye loves himself. Ye loves Dark Crimes. Subscribe now. I don't have time to read policies. I know from my heart that liberals are everywhere. What about Trump? People think that I'm supposed to be a liberal. No, I think for myself. I think with my heart. The mind lies to you. The heart tells you the truth. Trump for president in 2020, and if he doesn't run, I will be running.
You shouldn't turn your back on me. Is that a challenge?
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Black folks are nosy. They have specials. Nosy specials. Why does a bee make honey? You ain't a bee. Why do you give a fuck?
Where's the kaboom? There was.
What business are you in?
I make my bread and butter. I'm pushing.
What business are you in?
I make my bread and butter. I'm pushing.